William Tonsmeyer, running back.
Bruce Littleton, H-back.
Owen Simpson, kicker punter.
Brady Glenn, offensive line.
Charlie Taft, quarterback.
Josh Arendal, D-line.
Rush Harper, defensive line.
William Plaisance, defensive end. Yates Bannon, edge.
Grayson Bruno, linebacker.
Cross Tonsmeyer, linebacker.
Ben Santa, free safety.
Owen Wilbanks, safety.
Larry McSwain Jr., cornerback.
Leighton Downey, corner.
The 2024 Kickoff Classic live from the Cap City of Montgomery, Alabama at the Crampton Bowl as the number 10 preseason Vestavia Hill Rebels take on the preseason number 3 ranked Carver Montgomery Wolverines. And on a beautiful Friday night here at the Crampton Bowl, Kurt Bloom along with my broadcast partner, Chad Pelcher. Chad, about 4 minutes away. Both coaches here, very new relatively to their systems. Bobby Carr, year number 1, and year number 3 for Robert Evans. What do we expect tonight?
This is going to be a great matchup, and it's going to be two teams that have very high expectations coming into this season. Coach Evans, as you mentioned, in his 3rd season at the helm of the Vestavia Hills Rebels, having gone to the playoffs to the 2nd round the last 2 seasons, finishing 9-3 last year. Coach Bobby Carr coming in for this new Carver football team that's a very unique situation. 1, it's his 1st year as the head coach. 2, Carver has moved up from 6A to 7A because they have combined Carver High School and Sidney Lanier High School. So you added about 11 or 12 players from Sidney Lanier onto this Carver team that is absolutely loaded. And we're going to talk about that as the night goes on. But this is a team. You talked about them being ranked number 3. If you look at the Alabama Sports Writers Association poll, they're kind of the 12th team. They're just barely getting votes. But the folks that know about this team, that have seen the talent that they have, they're ranking them as high as 3rd. That's what Alabama7afootball.com has them ranked, and that ranking is deserved. It's a team that's absolutely loaded. 17 players on this roster have been offered or accepted a scholarship at the Division I level. Vestavia's got a big challenge on their hands here tonight.
Well, there are 2 Power 5 commits already. TK Norman, the wide receiver, going to Texas A&M. And the running back, Anthony Rogers, is committed to Alabama. On the flip side for Vestavia Hills, we've been talking with Robert Evans all week long. Speed is the name. He needs speed to try to defeat most of his opponents this year, including tonight in the task of trying to take on a bigger, stronger Carver Montgomery Wolverine club.
And that's going to be a challenge tonight because William Tonsmeyer, the starting running back who started as a sophomore, started as a junior, and is coming into his senior year as a starting running back. He had 842 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground last year. He is out tonight. He's got a hamstring injury. He's probably going to miss next week as well, with the goal to get him back in time for region play. So that's a big blow for the Rebels. Under center, Charlie Taft takes over. He's a sophomore. He played varsity football as a freshman. He played varsity baseball as a freshman. He's an outstanding athlete, but it's going to be his turn under center. Last week in the Jamboree, he looked really good. But again, this is under the lights against a team that's going to be a lot faster than what Pell City was last year.
Well, Charlie's going to have a lot on his shoulders as he is just a sophomore, as you mentioned. His number 1 running back who could take some pressure off. Tonsmeyer out for a couple of weeks. So you'll be looking for Chase Webb on the outside, Luke Stubbs on the outside. We saw a lot of passes and run plays, short stuff last week in the Jamboree. Maybe a little bit of a vanilla offense. That being said, it was moving, and you had guys like Carson Purdy, Whit Williamson, and sophomore Noah Boylan actually played very, very well in the Jamboree.
He did a nice job. The one thing for Vestavia on the downside was too many turnovers. You had 4 or 5 turnovers during that Jamboree. Vestavia cannot afford to do that tonight, so that's going to be a big challenge. I think for Coach Evans, what he thinks about coming into this football game is you hope you're able to run the ball, run it consistently, and hopefully wear down this Carver team as the game goes along. Vestavia has 139 players on its roster. Carver only 87, so that's the goal. Can you get something going in the running game, and then hopefully with the strength and conditioning that you've done all season long, you wear them down, and you're in a position to win the ball game in the fourth quarter.
Well, tonight is going to be an example of how Vestavia Hills is going to try to win games, and that is, might not be the first quarter, the second quarter, but the third and fourth, when some of the other beefier linemen start to get tired, and as you mentioned, that fast, quick tempo offense of Robert Evans and Vestavia Hills gets going, and you start to see that linemen might be needing replacements, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see if that quick game works, and we're just seconds away. Looks like Vestavia Hills has elected to receive, and we'll be underway from the Crampton Bowl. This is our first game of the season. 9-3 last year, 5-2 in Region 3 for Robert Evans, and this is only his third year. And the 2024 high school football season is underway with a short kick, and Vestavia Hills will take over at around the 35-yard line.
And this is a beautiful stadium, the Crampton Bowl. They renovated it back in 2011. They put new turf in last year, and then before this season, they put in new lighting, a new video scoreboard. The one thing it doesn't have is windows in the press boxes. So it is closed press boxes here, so you may not hear the crowd noise as much as you typically see. But again, we'll bring the action to you as it comes about.
First set of downs this year for the Rebs. And Taff already rolling out. Finds his receiver. 45-yard line. And on the move, Bruce Littleton, senior, makes the catch.
And that's a nice start for Taff. A play action to the left side, rolls out to his right. Littleton wide open in the flat. Good job of Taff getting rid of the football early. Littleton goes out, and that's a first down for the Rebels.
Again, that tempo offense for the Rebs. Here's a handoff up the middle. No, it's a fake handoff, and then a throw to the far side. Intended for the outside number 88 of VH. That would be Ainsworth.
Yeah, Ainsworth came in more of a true tight end. He came in for Littleton. It was a nice job. More play action for Taft, putting him on the move. Just threw that ball behind Ainsworth. Now the ball's on the ground.
And it is loose. And Carver's got it. And Carver with open space to the end zone. It's what you talked about earlier. A lot of turnovers last week in the Jamboree, and a big, huge turnover right here as the Wolverines will go out in front.
That snap looked to be a little bit low as Taft went down to get it. He went to, I don't know if he was handing off or if we had more play action going, but he hit his own man. The ball popped loose, and then Steven Andrews, the linebacker, picked it up for Carver and took it to the house.
So the spur linebacker jumping on that loose ball. The one thing you prepare, you lift the weights, you go through practice, and the one thing you can't control are those killer turnovers, and in this case, a scoop and score for Carver Montgomery.
Yeah, really a worst-case scenario for Vestavia to start this ball game. Had a couple of nice plays on the first two downs. Then a ball, had a chance for a big play, but threw it behind Ainsworth, and then fumble that leads directly to the touchdown.
Harry Welch, no good. And so the score will stay 6-0. Carver gets an early gift, an early present. And now Charlie Taff and the rest of Vestavia under the gun. They will go on downs.
At Birmingham Fastener, every day begins with our core values: integrity, grit, and accountability. We're on the lookout for talented individuals to join our sales and manufacturing teams at one of the nation's leading manufacturers. With over 15 locations nationwide, we offer endless opportunities for growth and success alongside incredible teammates. Be a part of shaping the future of American manufacturing and help us build our nation's infrastructure.
Renew and refresh. JH Outback focuses on strengthening family bonds with spouses, parents, and children to help in spiritual growth and life purpose. Join us for a fun-filled weekend together in an undistracted environment enjoying the outdoors with great food, entertainment, and live music. JH Outback. Renew and refresh.
So the Rebels, Chad, will try to work through some early adversity. The scoop and score for Carver Montgomery. They missed the extra point, but they lead 6-0.
The good thing for the Rebels, not strong in the kicking game, is Carver. So they've got great field position again after that kickoff up to the 35-yard line.
Taff keeps it himself. Loses a helmet. He gets out to the 42-yard line. So the sophomore Charlie Taff, he completed that first pass to his tight end, went far side on the second, and then third play was a fumble. Running to the outside. That's Carson Purdy on the carry.
And you saw already on the first down play, DJ Mossop, a defensive tackle for Carver, his helmet fell off. He had to come off the field. The second he was off the field, the ball was snapped while another Carver defender was still running onto the field.
First down and 10 for the Rebs. And a little trickery. Taff will throw downfield, incomplete. They had two in the area, including Bruce Littleton.
And that was a great play call by offensive coordinator Josh Franklin. He went with the speed sweep to the right side, then pitched it back, an option pitch back to Taff. He had two receivers running down the middle of the field. There was a Carver defender. You needed them to split and separate. Instead, Taff just threw the ball up and down too far and incomplete. So that's going to put him in a second down situation.
Yeah, second down and 10. Taff this time with one running back, man in motion. Handoff. No gain. On the carry was Whit Williamson, a junior. And the ball will be spotted on the 45.
And Carver, on that last down, they walked 8 down in the box. This time they're going to drop into nickel coverage. They have 5 defensive backs, 4 down linemen, 1 linebacker. Middle of the field is open.
Here goes Taff. And he had a little operating room there, but he missed his target. And Vestavia Hills faces a 4th down here in the first quarter.
And obviously the Rebels not shy about going for it on 4th down. Coach Robert Evans went for it 25 times last season. This is a 4th and 10. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some kind of pooch punt on this one with the ball sitting at their own, just shy of the 45-yard line. But that's a 3rd consecutive pass where you've had an opportunity to hit a receiver down the field, just haven't been able to do it. The Vestavia punt team now runs on the field late.
Owen Simpson. It's a high kick and a good kick inside the 10-yard line and down at about the 8-9-yard line perhaps.
And that's C.J. Cargill, one of the outstanding receivers that you're going to hear about from Carver tonight.
First down for Carver. This will be the first time we get to look at their quarterback, T.J. Russell, and all the weapons that Russell has. Russell will be wearing number 9. He's a senior. He's got weapons everywhere, Chad. Robert Evans told us during the week that when it comes to skill position, this might be the number 1 opponent this year. That includes all the clubs in the region. Handoff just a couple of yards over to the 11.
And they start the carries with Barry. He's the backup running back who also has offers to go play college football. So it's guys you're going to see all over the field. The feature back of this offense is Anthony Rogers. He's committed to Alabama. Barry also who played at Sidney Lanier last year, also going to have opportunities. And you're going to see Rogers play not only tailback, he's going to be all over. He'll be in the slot. He'll be out at receiver. So they use him all over, not just a traditional running back.
Yeah, he is in motion right now. They flip it to Rogers. Rogers, the Alabama commit, over the 20. Got a first down and more. Then there's a flag at around the 29-yard line.
Yeah, Vestavia's going to get fortunate there. I think that's going to be a hold on the outside against the receiver, but they had the Rebels outflanked on the edge that time, which is what allowed Rogers to get to the outside.
Now, you mentioned, unfortunately, we don't have windows that open. One of the issues will be hearing the actual call from the officials, unfortunately. But we can adjust, Chad. It will be at the 15-yard line for Carver. Well, second down, 4 to go for Carver. It's Trey Berry next to the quarterback, Russell. It's Berry. And Berry at about the 16-yard line. It'll be a third down play. Third down and about 3 for Carver. Chet?
And this is a tough situation for the Rebels. In the short down situations, obviously they can run or pass. And we'll see how Vestavia defends. I would imagine they're going to bring some pressure.
Look at Rogers again. Spread out, Chad, near side. Not in the running back position at all. Down the middle they go. It's complete. And caught. And a first down and more. Zion Crumpton, the junior, 6'2", 175, using his size and speed to get open and move the chains.
Crumpton's a guy that has 20 offers. Auburn, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia Tech, lots of others. So he's only a junior, but he's going to be able to go wherever he wants to play next year or in 2 years.
To throw. Going long, going deep, and too much. That was intended for Crumpton as well.
And that's the type of play Vestavia cannot afford to give up. If Carver gets big plays, it is going to be a very long night. You've got to stay behind. You're not going to be able to out-athlete these receivers for Carver. You've got to keep everything in front of you. Vestavia's going to play some man-to-man, but you're going to have protection over the top with the safety. Fortunately for the Rebels, Spence Hanna is in the starting lineup tonight. He missed the Jamboree last week with a injured foot, but he is back.
Russell, handoff. Over the 40, out to the 42. Once again, that's Berry and not Rogers. Rogers does not have a touch yet. Low snap, handled, handoff to Berry. And Berry's got some room as he gets near midfield. He avoided that first would-be tackler and wound up right near midfield.
And Vestavia had him in the backfield, about a yard in the backfield, just did not wrap up. And these guys are good, they're strong, they're elusive, and they're able to run through tackles. You're not going to be able to arm tackle. You've got to drive through. And that time Vestavia got a hold, but just not able to bring them down.
Vestavia Hills, rush 3. Handoff Berry. Berry inside Rebel territory at the 48. Let's give him a gain of 2, maybe 1. Long 1, short 2. Second down, and officially on the scoreboard, they'll hold it at 10, so no gain.
And that's a really nice tackle by Grayson Bruno. And that's the strength of this Rebel defense. Grayson Bruno at the will linebacker. Jacob Watson at the mic. Cross Tonsmeyer at the strong side linebacker position.
Some pressure. And then down the middle and incomplete. Once again, some operating room for these wideouts for Carver. That was Nikeen Patterson, who was the intended receiver. We haven't seen the A&M commit yet, number 18, T.K. Norman. There are a lot of weapons on this team.
Well, and they've thrown to 4 or 5 different guys, to your point, and still haven't hit Norman.
We have not hit Norman, and again, Rogers, I don't remember calling his name for a rush.
He had that one sweep on the penalty that came back.
Right.
That's the only time. And true to form, they have put him more in the slot than they have in the backfield.
3rd down and 8. The Rebels looking for a stop. Russell under some pressure, avoids pressure, and he's got a 1st down. At the 35, T.J. Russell. He can do that, Chad. That's part of his weaponry.
Russell has offers from Alabama State, Central Michigan, North Alabama, Western Kentucky, Jackson State, Sanford, Georgia Southern. He's a guy that's very elusive. He's got a strong arm in the pocket, and as you saw there, great recognition. It was a blitz by Vestavia. They brought 6. Not enough time for him to sit in the pocket and throw the football, but he kept his eyes down the field, a lot of awareness, and was able to pick up a nice gain in the 1st down.
Now, that was a 3rd and long, one of those backbreakers for the Rebels defense. And here's the sweep again to Rogers. That's his first official, I guess we'll say. He had one that came back and just a sweep that didn't get very much. Robert Evans, now in his 3rd year, head coach of Vestavia Hills, told us again, for Carver, he's got to force, his defense has got to force Carver into very long drives. Well, this is a decent set for the defense right now, Chad, especially we saw perhaps the lack of kicking game out of Carver. Low snap, Berry, and Berry falls down, so he's at the 32.
The frustrating part about this drive is Vestavia, typically if you see big drives, they're getting big chunks on 1st and 2nd down. Vestavia's doing a really nice job on 1st and 2nd down. It's 3rd down that's been a problem. We're at 5 minutes, 33 seconds left in the 1st quarter. We're at the Heat timeout. We'll take a break and be right back.
Lifeline's ministry is necessary because God has ultimately called the body of Christ to manifest the gospel to vulnerable children. We see it beginning in the Old Testament in the Pentateuch. God continues to renew that call over and over and over again to the people. Lifeline, in its role, comes alongside the church with that very narrow specialization to allow the church to live out the mission that the church has been given to proclaim the gospel through orphan care.
Well, back at the Crampton Bowl. Back at the Crampton Bowl in the capital city of Montgomery, Carver out in front. They scoop and score early. They lead 6-0, and Carver also in possession. Before the break, Chad, you were mentioning that Vestavia Hills doing a nice job on the 1st and 2nd down. 3rd down and long, they've given up a couple of 1st down plays.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to capitalize, and they've had chances to make stops in the backfield. They've had blitzers get in the backfield, and you've seen a quarterback escape that turned into a 1st down, and then had a chance to tackle for loss on a running back in the backfield, but that also resulted in the running back escaping and picking up a 1st down. So opportunities for Vestavia, they just haven't capitalized here. This is another big 3rd down. You're looking at 3rd and 7. This is outside the range of Carver's kicking opportunity, so it's likely a 4-down situation, so Carver with 2 downs to try and pick up the 1st down.
And for Russell, he has got 2 outstanding receivers, T.K. Norman and Zion Crumpton, and you have seen them operate already in space. Let's find the deuce there. There's Rogers on the outside as well, Chad, so it triplets on the right. Single coverage near side. The Rebels showing blitz, trying to put some pressure on Russell, and he gets it free, and a 1st down catch. And there is a penalty flag after the 1st down play.
I thought I saw holding on the edge. That flag came in a little bit late. It may be a face mask against Vestavia with where that flag was thrown. And they are indicating it's against Vestavia, so that's probably going to take Carver half the distance to the goal.
Well, you remember our years over at Sanford, and I guessed, and I guessed, and I guessed, and I was wrong, and I was wrong, and I was wrong. So yeah, I'm trying to get out of the guessing game. But
they called it a horse collar against the Rebels, so another tough break on a play where it's just really well done in the backfield by T.J. Russell. Vestavia brings pressure. He wanted to go to the left side. Had man-to-man coverage on the near side. Covered well by the Rebels, but then at the last minute, he dumps it off to Rogers, and then Rogers picks up about 10 yards, a first down. Then you add on the penalty yardage, and that puts Carver all the way up to the 12-yard line.
So they can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. Barry, again, is the lone running back. Barry to about the 8. Right now, so far, Anthony Rogers, the Alabama commit, has been more of a decoy than anything else. Doesn't mean he won't be heard from, but right now, not a whole lot. But there's so many options for Terrell Russell, T.J. Russell.
And just to give context, Barry last season had 1,361 all-purpose yards and 8 touchdowns as a junior. So this is a dynamic player in his own right.
So again, Rogers flanked out to the left, and a whistle before that ball was hiked. 4:09 remaining, opening quarter. And Carver has called a timeout. We'll take one here at the Crampton Bowl. Carver on the move. They lead 6-0 when we come back.
I'm all about it. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm all about it. Yeah, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Yeah, 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 yeah,
You have to pay taxes. Ugh. It's just part of life. In the great state of Alabama, we have an awesome thing in our tax code called the Alabama Accountability Act, which allows you to redirect up to 100% of your state taxes to Scholarship for Kids, a scholarship granting organization that benefits partner schools like Restoration Academy. It's a no-brainer. Use your tax money for something that will make a huge impact at no cost to you. For more information, go to choosera.org.
And we remind you real quickly, if you're on the One Rebel Athletics, the YouTube page, you're not having a problem with your video. This is audio only tonight. High school rules limiting our options. Russell, fake to Barry, handoff to the man in motion. That's Rogers, and Vestavia Hills does a nice job covering up.
What a great play by William Plaisance that time. Show rush to the right, come back on the reverse, and a Plaisance read that from the word go, made the tackle, and that is a huge play for the Rebels at this point in the ball game, where Carver's looking like they've got a chance to go get back in the end zone, and a big-time stop on second down. That forces Carver into a 3rd and long.
T.K. Norman, A&M commit, near side. Russell, the quarterback. And it looks like, again, we have time. And this time, I believe, the Rebels called timeout.
Yeah, Coach Robert Evans pretty upset that time. Had the Rebels in a dime package, had 6 defensive backs on the field. Clearly someone was lined up out of position, so the Rebels take a timeout there. Can ill afford to be lined up incorrectly here at this point in the ball game. And again, this is the first season for defensive coordinator Chad Merrill, who had spent a large portion of his career at Vestavia. He left, went to Hoover High School, then to Mountain Brook High School. He's now back, which is a great asset for the Rebels. Coach Evans is actually calling the defense tonight. In years past, he and previous defensive coordinator Sean Rainey had kind of rotated calling the defense. I think that's what will happen this season with Coach Merrill as well. But for tonight, Coach Evans has begun the game calling the defense. He recognized something he didn't like there, calls a timeout. But the Rebels had about 5 players standing between the 5-yard line and the end zone and the goal line. The first down marker is just shy of the 2-yard line.
3rd down and 14 with 3:28 remaining in the opening quarter. 2 to the left for Carver, 2 to the right. Here comes Vestavia Hills again on a blitz, but it's a pass and a completion, and getting some big-time yardage, probably just short of a first down, is T.K. Norman, who took a lick on his way down.
It's a good play call against a Very aggressive defensive play call for the Rebels. The Rebels go blitz. Carver goes with the slip screen, had a chance again to make a tackle in the backfield and did not make it. And if one of these receivers gets loose, they are gone. And they're going to give them a first down at the 2-yard line. So another huge pickup for Carver. They are now 5 for 5 on third downs in this ball game, and that one was tough. It was a 3rd and 12, and they're still able to pick it up.
And you look at the difference, Chad, a millisecond of the pressure coming on Russell, and he finds one of his big receivers. Berry to the end zone, he's in. Trey Berry with a touchdown, and Carver with a 12-0 first quarter lead. 2 yards on the rush by Trey Berry, a senior. Chad did mention, he might play second fiddle to Anthony Rogers, who's going to Alabama, but the commitments, or the offers rather, for Berry include Illinois State, App State, and FIU.
Yeah, it's just a complete team. And Coach Evans talked about it coming in. The level of talent on a video that went viral, how good Carver is talent-wise, and they've shown it in the early going. And the tougher thing for Vestavia is they've been in a position to make stops. They just haven't done it.
Harry Welch will attempt the point after he missed the first one, and he hits this one. So it is now a 13-0 first quarter lead. We'll be back from the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery right after this.
At Birmingham Fastener, every day begins with our core values: integrity, grit, and accountability. We're on the lookout for talented individuals to join our sales and manufacturing teams at one of the nation's leading manufacturers. With over 15 locations nationwide, we offer endless opportunities for growth and success alongside incredible teammates. Be a part of shaping the future of American manufacturing and help us build our nation's infrastructure.
Kurt Bloom along with Chad Pilcher from the Crampton Bowl, Cap City of Montgomery. Carver with a 13-0 lead over the Rebels. Welch with a short kick. And it is taken by the Rebels and out to the 35-yard line. So another good position, good field position for the Rebels. They can't complain about where they've started their drives, but now it's time, Chad. They got to finish a couple of drives.
Yeah, this team, the Carver team, is talented. You can't afford to sit around, not execute. You got to come out and make plays. Vestavia so far, 15 total yards. Carver has 89 yards. Again, the big play, that turnover, the scoop and score for Carver. Vestavia with a fresh set of downs and a new opportunity.
Just over 3 minutes remaining in the first. A pitch and some outstanding yardage. That time, Carson Purdy.
That's a great start to this drive for Vestavia. It's a speed option to the right side. Nice job by Taff, waiting till the last minute to make the pitch, and then Purdy getting downhill.
That's Purdy behind Taff, and his second consecutive carry to about the 43-yard line.
I'm going to say he actually lost a yard, so you go from 2nd and 1 to 3rd and 2.
Big difference, obviously. Ridden out of bounds by Rashad Walker, the nose tackle. See the Rebels shift on offense. Fake handoff. Taff will keep it, and he looks like he is just short of a first down.
Vestavia going to keep the offense on the field. I'm a little surprised they didn't go a little faster. Carver was celebrating, taking their time. They're now going to bring Ainsworth onto the field. Chase Webb goes off. They're going to line up as if they're going to go for it after picking up about half a yard on 3rd down. Now it's 4th and a little over 1.
Chad, this is money time for William Tonsmeyer. Translation, this would have been his carry on that 2nd down, 3rd down, even this 4th down here. And the perhaps best running back for the Rebels going to be out for a couple of weeks. Here's Taff, and this will be close. I saw him get over the 45 briefly. Carver celebrating, but we're going to have to wait for a measurement.
They give him a first down. I think that time they actually snuck Purdy in at quarterback. He went play action to Taff. Purdy kept the ball on the Wildcat to pick up the first down. Now Taff back under center.
And hands it off. Purdy gets about 3.
And that's what Vestavia has to do. You've got to go fast, get back under center. They had Littleton in a true fullback position as Vestavia. It doesn't happen often, but they were in a true I formation, quarterback under center, fullback, and tailback on that first down play.
Whit Williamson is now in at tailback. And a reverse. You got a receiver and caught short of a first down. A little trickery at the end of the catch. Charlie Taft, the guy who started the play.
Littleton played quarterback earlier in his career. Looked like he couldn't get a hold of that ball, so he let go of it a little bit late, but a nice gain. Now third down.
Third down and about 7 now. Rebels will come up short here. They're in Carver territory. Now, they went for it, and they'll be going for it again.
Coach Evans wanting them to go even quicker. It's 4th and about 2.
See who gets the ball. Last time, like you said, it was Purdy, not Taft. Littleton, the H-back, see if he sneaks out. Instead, it's Taft who gets the first down. Nice running.
I love that play call. We got flags coming in late. Probably going to add 15 more for the Rebels. Excellent job. You had Williamson in the backfield. He was the lead blocker to the outside. Taft followed him to pick up the first down, and you're going to add 15 more on.
The Rebels trailing by 13, but on the move. And after this walk-off with a penalty, they're already going to be within distance with their outstanding kicker, Owen Simpson. But, of course, Robert Evans and Josh Franklin are looking for 6, not 3. So it'll be about a first down. Chad, look at that yardage right there. First at the 25 of Carver.
Yeah, face mask against the Wolverines, so that's what added the 15 on. And here come the Rebels.
3 to the near side. Taft the pitch. And this is going to be a throw. And there's a man wide open, caught, touchdown. It's Luke Stubbs on the halfback option.
Vestavia started the game on a speed option. Got about 8 or 9 yards. That time they go back to the speed option. Showed run. Carver crashes in to defend that play. Luke Stubbs is able to release down the field. He was wide open. Perfect pass. Touchdown, Rebels.
Rebels showing that they're going for 2. It's 13-6. Taft over the top, but too much. He had Littleton, but he had to get it over the Carver defense. And with Vestavia Hills getting their first touchdown of the year, just 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter, we'll take a timeout from the Crampton Bowl.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
So the Rebels cut the lead to 7, 13-6 here in the waning moments of the opening quarter down in Montgomery.
And that score is huge, not only for the scoreboard, but for the confidence of this Vestavia team. I loved the poise that Charlie Taft showed on that play. I loved the play calls by offensive coordinator Josh Franklin. Not afraid to roll the dice, not afraid to go on 4th down, not afraid to throw reverse passes, halfback passes. And Vestavia executes to put points on the board.
Rogers and Berry are deep. That's Rogers. And right around his own end zone. He is out at the 30 with great speed. One man, the kicker, he's got by him and now into Vestavia territory near the 30. And Chad's calling for a
We had a flag on the play, and that is huge. Huge because, again, that's the speed and athleticism that you expect. Outstanding return, but a flag thrown right at the 20-yard line. So instead of being on their own the Vestavia 35. Carver's going to be all the way back on their own 10-yard line. So you may see it as a 10-yard penalty, but in reality, that's a 55-yard penalty against Carver.
You know, sometimes that's what springs that big return. So the big return by Anthony Rogers comes back. That's the end of the first quarter. A touchdown and a turnover gave Carver a 13-0 lead, but then a little chicanery and some trickery from Vestavia. So Vestavia Hills is on the scoreboard. 13-6 Carver after one. Chad and I and our crew will be back after this.
Renew and refresh. JH Outback focuses on strengthening family bonds with spouses, parents, and children to help in spiritual growth and life purpose. Join us for a fun-filled weekend together in an undistracted environment, enjoying the outdoors with great food, entertainment, and live music. JH Outback. Renew and refresh.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
Back at the Crampton Bowl here in Montgomery. A kickoff classic. Chet?
After the first quarter, Carver 89 yards of total offense. Vestavia just 65 yards. Carver was 5 of 5 on third downs. Vestavia 0 for 3 on third downs. Vestavia had 1 penalty for 12 yards. Carver 3 penalties for 35, the biggest being that play right there on the last kickoff that took them all the way 55 yards in total gain that they lost as a result. Vestavia's rushed it 11 times for 25 yards. Carver 12 times for 46 yards. Vestavia's thrown 3 of 6 for 40 yards. Carver 3 of 5 for 43. Trey Berry's led the way for Carver. 8 carries for 26 yards. TJ Russell has 2 for 26. Russell's also 3 of 5 through the air. For Vestavia, Carson Purdy, 1 carry for 25 yards. Charlie Taft's carried it 4 times for 10. And Luke Stubbs with the big touchdown pass on the halfback pass.
First down and 10. Carver long field now, and more flags, more laundry on the field, Chad.
So Carver, after being pretty flawless that first 11 and a half minutes of this ball game, have now had a couple of penalties. That's a false start against the Wolverines. Going to back them up to the 5. Now it's a 1st and 15. And for Vestavia, that's been consistent. They've done a really good job on 1st and 2nd down. It's been the 3rd down where there's been a problem. It's just these athletes of Carver have really taken over. So we'll see how this drive goes. This is a good opportunity if the Rebels can get a stop to potentially get really good field position.
Again, the strength of Vestavia Hills, their linebackers, see if they can get some pressure on Russell here. Berry on the outside has got some room. Takes a hit, gives a hit, and then gets out to about the 17-yard line. And so this will make it a 2nd and manageable now for Carver.
Nice job by Carver. They outflanked the Rebels to the left side, had a blocker ahead for Berry. Spence Hanna did a good job of filling the hole, but took a lick from Berry, who picked up 13.
So 2nd down and 2 for Russell and Carver. Man in motion. Fumble, ball's on the field, and the Rebels are claiming they have it. They do.
That's a huge play for Vestavia. They came on the speed sweep. Did Carver, went for the handoff, and the ball came loose. Yates Bannon looked like he was the one who knocked it free. Bad handoff by the Wolverines, but whatever happened, we'll take it.
Now Charlie Taft with a gift. Great field position for the Rebs. A pitch. Good pursuit. Not a whole lot for Carson Purdy. That'll set up a second down. He might have lost a couple.
And that was just really good defense that time by Carver. Just read the ball perfectly. Noah May, the linebacker, got there very quickly.
Now Taft looking over at his sideline.
Coach Evans told us coming into this ball game he was going to have sophomores playing on that defensive line due to some injuries, and that last fumble recovery is by Paxton Ussery, the sophomore defensive lineman who's getting an opportunity tonight due to some injuries.
Well, this time the Rebels will huddle up with a second down. They lost 2. Ball on the 17-yard line after the fumble and the recovery by the Rebs.
So penalty against Carver there. Unfortunately, we cannot hear the referee. We're not getting his mic piped into here, so we apologize.
Yeah, you're right, Chad, because it was 12. Now it's 5. Or rather, second down it's 7. Helmet comes off on the shovel pass.
And that was a really good play there. You saw Flo, speed sweep Flo going to the left side and then went shovel pass back to the right side to Littleton. There was a lot of congestion in there. But a good job of Littleton by holding on to the football. Picked up about 2. Now you're looking at 3rd and 5, maybe 3rd and 6.
That was Copeland Stiles who lost his hat. Man in motion. Taft. And his man goes down after the reception. That's Purdy. Webb probably was your primary receiver as he had broken loose, but Charlie let it rip to Carson Purdy. What do you think there?
I think you tip your hat to Carver on that play. They brought Webb in motion, tried to get him outside into the flat. It was well defended, well covered. Instead, Taft just drops it off to Purdy. Is really his only option. Great play by Carver, and now Simpson on to try the field goal.
About a 34-yarder for the honorable mention All-American last year, and it's good. 3 for the Rebs. So a 13-9 lead for Carver. We'll be back from Montgomery after this timeout.
Lifeline's ministry is necessary because God has ultimately called the body of Christ to manifest the gospel to vulnerable children. We see it beginning in the Old Testament in the Pentateuch. God continues to renew that call over and over and over again to the people. Lifeline, in its role, comes alongside the church with that very narrow specialization to allow the church to live out the mission that the church has been given to proclaim the gospel through orphan care.
Chad, football can be a game of minor wins, minor battles. And for Carver, that's a win on defense. They gave a very explosive Rebel offense a short field, and the Rebs come away with only 3 instead of 6.
I agree. I think we've seen that a couple of times. For Carver, that was huge there. They had an opportunity, did Vestavia, to put more points on the board. Carver's able to hold them to 3. And for Vestavia, you stem the tide. You went down 13-0. You come back, you get a stop, you get a score, then you get a turnover, and you're able to get this thing back within 4. So for both teams, I think they have absolutely done what they needed to do in difficult situations, and I think that's what we're going to see throughout this ballgame. It's going to be back and forth, just a heavyweight fight. One team hits, the other comes back, takes the punch, and punches again, and I think we'll see that all night long.
Anthony Rogers at the 1. Rogers still on his feet above the 30 at about the 32 taken down.
So a couple things on that play. We got another flag, so it's going to back Carver up. That's a second consecutive kickoff return where they've had a penalty. And not only that, just the way that Rogers bounces off. I mean, he got another 10 yards after taking a pretty big lick, and he just keeps fighting and falling forward, moving his legs to get out past the 30-yard line, but the penalty is going to negate that. So it's going to back Carver up inside the 15.
Long field again for Carver. You go back to that turnover, scoop, and score. You never can take that away, but Carver really hasn't, in air quotes, moved the ball very effectively, and it's their own penalties and mistakes that have killed them.
They now have 6 penalties for 55 yards, and we've barely just gotten into the second quarter.
4-point lead for Carver. Quick outlet pass to the near side, caught. Still on his feet at about the 30-yard line. Zion Crumpton.
And you see the respect that Vestavia has for these receivers. Cornerback playing about 9 or 10 yards off gave him a huge cushion. He's able to make the catch and then pick up another 10 yards after that catch.
A good spot there for the Carver Wolverines. They're at the 31. Russell will keep it himself this time. And he gets over the 35, about the 36. For about 5-yard gain. Should be second down and around 5 for Carver.
And that time you saw the athleticism from Russell. Quick fake the handoff, followed over the right side. Nice job. Pick up a nice gain on first down.
T.J. Russell with 3 wide receivers far side, but it's a handoff and not a lot of room to run for Trey Berry, who gets bottled up by that Rebel defense.
Carver's got one offensive lineman down, another holding his calf, which is probably a cramp. And we've talked all about the skill players and the talent that Carver has. The weakness, if they have one, are the offensive and defensive lines. Offensive line has a couple of prospects on it, but not as solid as the rest of the skill players. And then the defensive line is where Vestavia has a chance to really take advantage of this Carver team.
3rd down and 5. T.J. Russell. It's his man out of the backfield. And that'll be a first down.
That's a nice job by Russell Berry on the swing pass to the right side through a nice delivery. Put it right where he needed it to be, and Berry had good recognition, getting ahead, getting just to the sticks to pick up that first down.
First down and 10. Carver at their own 42. Fake to Berry. That's Rogers, trying to get Rogers in space. Pretty good job of pursuit by the Rebels.
And Carver's found something that they like out on the edges. You've seen the swing passes, getting it not only to their running backs, but also to their receivers on the outside edge. That requires your receivers to do a good job of blocking out on the edge, and so far the Wolverines have been really strong in that area.
Leighton Downey on the pursuit. 2nd and 2 for Carver. There's some pressure coming. Russell going deep and a little too far. Intended for Crumpton, who had a yard or 2 on his man.
That's the second time tonight Carver's taken a shot and just overthrown Crumpton. And you see the speed. Both times it's been on a post route, going right across the middle of the field. Vestavia is in a decent position defensively, but the ball has just been overthrown on that one and previously when they took a shot in the first quarter.
3rd down and 2 for Carver. Right at the 50.
The one thing that surprised me so far is we've not seen them go at T.K. Norman. Right now he's at the top of the field on the Vestavia sideline, split out wide.
Single coverage, fumble, ball on the floor of the Crampton Bowl. And it will be Carver ball on the recovery.
Yates Bannon had a shot. He dove in there, but just unable to hold on to that football.
Trey Berry received his own fumble, recovered his own fumble, I should say.
But that is the first time tonight that Vestavia's come up with a stop on 3rd down. So Carver now 6 of 7 on 3rd down. Huge stop for the Rebels. Carver will line up to punt it away, and a new wrinkle this week. Charlie Taff, your starting quarterback, is back to receive punts for the Rebels. They tried some other folks in the Jamboree last week. This is something that Taff did all last season. And you don't see it very often, but Vestavia has their starting quarterback back to return punts.
And it's Greg Tate who gets off the kick. And Vestavia Hill's going to wind up with very good field position once again. They're going to be at the 35-yard line.
He moved up another 5 yards. He's up to the 39.
Oh, we're not done yet. Up to the 39.
And that's what Vestavia has to do in this ball game, is put Carver in positions where they've got to get in the kicking game. They're able to stop on those third downs and force them into tough situations. They have struggled so far tonight in all phases of special teams, both the extra points, in the kickoffs, there, the punt, and in the return game.
Taff calls his own number. Straight ahead. About the 43.
That time he brought Chase Webb in motion. Looked like he had a read option look on that speed sweep. Make a decision. Taft chose to keep it, and he picked up 3.
Second down and 7 after a gain of 3 by the quarterback Taff. 2 wide receivers near side, 2 on the far side. And there goes Purdy in motion. And then Taft gets chewed up and eaten up by the defense of Carver. Somebody missed an assignment.
Taft wanted to go to the outside early to deliver the football, but, man, just got smoked.
Fitzgerald Stinson, number 16, able to get through. So a third down and 10. That's a free play. Vestavia Hills trying to get a man open now. That's going to be interference. There is a flag on the play.
I'm not sure if it looked like that was designed. So what Vestavia did, they went hard count for the fake. All the linemen just stood up and stood there like they weren't paying attention, and then boom, you snapped the ball, and you took a shot down the field trying to get the ball to Webb. Carver, again, not knowing what's going on because of the fake by the Rebels to act like they weren't paying attention. Great job of execution. They take a shot down the field. You get a holding call, and the Rebels are going to pick up an automatic first down.
6:11 remaining in the second quarter. And we'll take a timeout from the Crampton Bowl as Vestavia Hills in plus territory when we come back. And again, we welcome you to the One Rebel Athletics YouTube app. And there's no problem with your video restrictions tonight. And so we have audio. We are live. We are coming to you on the airwaves. Kurt Bloom and Chad Pilcher. Chad?
Yeah, it's great to be here. AHSAA Kickoff Classic. And so we will be back live video next week and throughout the remainder of the season. And I wish we had video on this last play because it was outstanding execution by the Rebels. A lot of times you see the plays where everybody looks to the sideline and says, hey, I don't know what's going on. Well, the Rebels got set. The linemen stood up, kind of looked to the sideline. I thought they were looking to the sideline for another play, and all of a sudden they snap it to Charlie Taff. He then threw a beautiful ball down the sideline as Chase Webb took off. He was the only guy running down the field, going for the ball. Took a one-on-one shot down the field, thrown a little bit too far, but it was pass interference against Carver. Vestavia picks up the first down, and now have the ball in Wolverine territory on the 46-yard line going in.
With a fresh set of downs and plenty of time on the clock, 6:11. Purdy, the running back. Fake to man. Taff. Safe pass. Caught by Purdy out of the backfield, and he is down to the 15.
Love that execution. You faked it to Purdy. He just kept going down the numbers. You had Webb coming to the outside where you faked it to him as well, and then Purdy was wide open. Excellent throw by Taft. Gets the Rebels to the 15-yard line.
Purdy comes out. Handoff for Williamson. See if Vestavia Hills tries to use some tempo.
And Vestavia's got 3 receivers to the top side, only 2 Carver defenders over there. Now they've adjusted.
Taff. Dangerous pass at the end zone. It's too bad we didn't have our video because the defender on that far side for Carver jumping up and down, begging for some teammates to help him out. And I'm surprised that Taft didn't go that way, didn't take advantage of it.
It looked like Vestavia was set. You almost wish he would have snapped it a little bit quicker and just thrown it out there because you had the numbers. Instead, it looks like we're going to get a penalty against the Rebels. It's going to back them up even farther. I guess in theory he could decline it because it was incomplete pass. It would take you to 3rd down, but you're looking at 10 yards going back. So Coach Bobby Carr has a decision to make here. He's talking to the officials. Ball currently spotted at the 13-yard line. He's going to decline it. I'm a little surprised with that. He's going to decline it and go 3rd and 7 from the 13.
So the Rebels can get a first down without a touchdown.
And the reason you decline that, because it takes it to 3rd down, obviously a 3rd and pretty long. They're going to spot it as 3rd and 8.
And quite possibly the way the Rebels run their offense, maybe 2 down. 2 chances. Taff dumps it, and he finds his guy, and slicing inside is Chase Webb, his first reception.
And now decision time for Coach Robert Evans. Really nice play. They sent Chase Webb out in motion, then he came back across the middle. That gets Vestavia. It's a 4th down, 4th and 3 at the 8-yard line. Coach talking it over. We'll see if they try to draw them off, or are they going to run a play here on 4th down? Does Vestavia take a gamble? They shift.
Sophomore Taft trying to draw Carver off sides. And a timeout. Very savvy call by the sophomore. Does not panic. Timeout for the Rebels.
In this game, points are such a premium. We'll see. Coach Evans will talk it over. We'll see what they decide. 4th and 3. He is not afraid to go for it on 4th down. A lot of analytics goes into Coach Robert Evans' thought process when he's making these decisions. If you could somehow get 6, 7 on this drive, that would obviously be huge. It would give the Rebels a 3-point lead with a touchdown and the extra point. But in a game that you expect to be close, you're well within Owen Simpson's range. It's almost a gimme for a field goal. So we'll see what decision he makes. The offensive staff is still talking. Coach Evans has walked off, so it seems like he's made his decision. And we'll sit here and wait and see who comes out. Simpsons is standing there. Looks like he's ready to come on the field for this field goal attempt.
Simpson looks like a golfer practicing his swing. When I read the preview, Jeff Allison wrote the preview for this game. He said, you got to look out every kickoff, every punt, anything in special teams. You just don't cement it in and say, all right, this is definitely going to happen. So it could be a fake of a kick. Yeah, I would like to have seen Taff call his own number and just try to go straight ahead and grab 3. But it looks like Simpson, and again, at the moment, we'll call it a field goal attempt. Possibility of a fake. So this is a 25-yarder for Simpson. And this would bring the Rebels within a point. And it is good. So Simpson, 2 for 2. It's what a weapon that is. A great weapon to have in your pocket. Owen Simpson. And a 1-point game with 4:52 remaining in the second quarter. We'll be back from the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery after this.
I'm all about it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Said I'm all about it. Yeah, I'm all about it. Said I'm all about it. Yeah, 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 yeah,
We're back at the Crampton Bowl where the Rebels down early 13-0. They've scored 12 unanswered points. And this dangerous duo, again, back to receive the kick, Rogers and Berry. The problem is that every time they come from out of their end zone and try to make a play, there's been a penalty on Carver. Backing up at the 1-yard line is Rogers. He's got some room. He goes down at the 30. That was Zion Crumpton on the run back. They took Rogers and Berry and substituted Crumpton in there.
And it almost doesn't matter. You've got so many athletes in the skill positions on this team for a Carver group that's just looked really good so far in this ballgame. They've made some mistakes they're obviously going to want back, but their first year bumping up to Class 7A. They've combined Sidney Lanier and Carver High Schools. Last year, Carver went to the first round of the playoffs. They lost to Briarwood 25-0 in the first round, but this is a different team this season, and they've looked really sharp in the first half.
So back to T.J. Russell and the Carver offense. Quick pass to Rogers, trying to get him in space. And he gets around a couple of tackles. He's shifty. Should have been down twice and able to break some tackles.
Yeah, Grayson Bruno was out there. Looked like that might have been Tonsmeyer. It was Tonsmeyer, number 0, was out there, had a chance to make the tackle, did a good job, but just got his arm on, wasn't able to quite grab enough jersey to pull him down. So you just see the strength and the speed. If you don't get him wrapped up, Rogers just keeps going and gets that extra yard, so a good gain on first down for the Wolverines.
Rogers appeared to look like he himself was in some stress. He gets the reception, and now over the 50 and down at the Vestavia Hills 39-yard line.
And that time you just had 2 players to the outside very quickly through that one to Rogers, and no one touched him until he was about 15 or 20 yards down the field.
So Berry has done the bulk of the carrying, and now Rogers a couple of receptions. Right at the 40 as the Rebels show some pressure. Trey Berry going to give him a yard. I think momentum got him to about the 39. Ball was hiked at the 40, and he will get 1.
And that was a great job by Jacob Watson that time. The middle linebacker read that play perfectly, filled the gap, made the tackle. Spence Hanna in there as well. And you're right, Rogers is tired. He is hunched over on the Carver sideline after getting several catches in a row.
A couple of linemen have walked around for Carver. This is exactly what Robert Evans was hoping that would happen. He would tire them out with their pace. This is Berry. Trey Berry gets a block and then gets to the 35 of Vestavia.
Really good defensively by Owen Wilbanks, cross Tonsmeyer in there as well. And that's one thing Vestavia is doing a nice job of on the edge. A little bit in the first quarter, Carver was getting to the edge, outflanking the Rebels. Now you've seen a good job of holding the receivers up at the point of attack. Those receivers coming down the field to block Vestavia in the secondary, but this Rebel defender is doing a nice job of thwarting those defenders and making the tackles. Now Carver shifts.
They're down in 5, and it looks like we're going to get a timeout. There might have been some confusion on the Carver side of things. With 2:46 remaining here in the second quarter, a 1-point game in Montgomery.
And for Coach Bobby Carr, this is a big decision here in this ball game. And Coach Carr is a guy who has had a lot of success in the state of Alabama, coaching in AISA, the Independent School Association. He's won 10 state championships. He coached for 15 years at Edgewood Academy and won 7 state championships there. He then moved to Autauga Academy, where he won 3 state championships in 5 seasons. After that, he had job offers at Elmore County and Park Crossing. Those both fell through. He moved to the state of Mississippi for a year, where he was a head coach at a private school in Hattiesburg. He came back last season, was the offensive coordinator at Alberta, and then got this job about 6 months ago. And the crazy part was you get the job here in Montgomery, a place you're generally familiar with, but it's with two schools combining. So a big challenge for Coach Carr. But that challenge is alleviated a little bit when you realize the type of talent that this squad has for Carver. Again, 17 players have been offered Division I scholarships, and Coach Carr's a guy with a great track record who they believe will have great success here at Carver. Here's a big decision early in his first season in the first game, 3rd and 5 for the Wolverines.
Triplets to the far side, single coverage. And wide receiver on the near side. It is Rogers. They got him contained, but right now his momentum takes him over. The power and the legs. He gets over the first down, necessary yardage.
And when in doubt, give it to the Alabama commit. Looked like Grayson Bruno had a shot. I thought he got pushed in the back, but no flag came out, and Carver converts for the first down up to the 30-yard line.
Chad, Rogers is only, in air quotes, 5'9", but he is a rock-solid 195, and he has had a circuitous route in his high school career. We'll get to it in a moment. Russell wants the pass. He finds Rogers in about a 2-yard gain. So here's Rogers. He went to Pike Road for a couple of years, then transferred to IMG down in Florida, and then transferred back here to Carver.
At Pike Road as a sophomore, he backed up Quinshawn Junkins, who had a great career at Ole Miss and now transferred to Ohio State. Had about 800 yards that year as a sophomore. Last year at IMG, had about 350 yards, and then came back here to Carver for his senior season.
Did I see your eyes twinkle when you mentioned Ole Miss? Russell got his man. Big yardage. Near side.
That's well executed that time by Carver. Ran a pick play, had an outside receiver and an inside receiver. Ran a little pick route, kind of a corner route. Like a hook route in the inside, set up the pick, and then allowed the receiver to escape to the outside. That's a big game for Carver.
Reception by Javoski Barnes. First and goal at the 9. Russell wants to go in the air off the hands of his intended receiver. Pretty good coverage by the Rebs. And that was intended for TK Norman, trying to use his size in the end zone.
That's the first time we've seen them go with the Texas A&M commit, and that ball was thrown too high and incomplete. Nice defense by the Rebels. That's man-to-man coverage out there on the outside. Well defended.
Well, they're going to have to defend again. And, Chad, am I looking at a flag? Looking at some laundry. This one looks like it's going to be a little further out.
Big penalty against Carver. That's a holding call against Carver. That's their 8th penalty for a total of 80 yards. So a huge one there. So it'll be first and goal from the 19-yard line.
All right, Rogers is back in. The Alabama commit wears number 2. Norman headed to Texas A&M. Wears number 18. T.J. Russell, Berry with a handoff, and Vestavia Hill's on top of him. The tackle by Grayson Bruno.
Coach Evans has talked about the linebacking core being the strength of this defense. Grayson Bruno, the senior, flies into the backfield to make that tackle. Huge play for the Rebels.
Well, you talk about huge play. Remember, in that first quarter, Carver able to capitalize on 3rd down on a few occasions. This is a monster one here. 24 yards to go. They got to get near the end zone. Russell's going to put it in the air, and he's got his intended receiver inside, right around the 10, rather. And that's caught by Crumpton. He's nearly impossible to defend with 6'2", 175. I mean, both flankers, both wideouts are 6'2".
Carver had 4 wides that time, trips to the left side, single receiver to the right. Vestavia was playing man-to-man underneath with 2 safeties over the top, which you can do when you're in a goal-to-goal situation. Now a 3rd and goal from the 11. The clock is at 1:05. Carver has 1 timeout remaining.
And Carver also has to make a decision. If they don't get it, they don't have the kicking game the Rebels do. Low snap, and Russell over the middle, got his man. It should be. Oh, it's a touchdown. I thought he was out. It was a touchdown. That's Rogers.
Well, his helmet just came off. Flag should have come out for that. That was really close in the back of the end zone. We obviously don't have the benefit of a video replay here, but that was in the back of the end zone. Vestavia had 2 defenders there. But the officials say he got his feet down, and that's a big touchdown for Carver with less than a minute to go. He did rip his helmet off. That should have been a flag, and that would have been a big deal because we've talked about the kicking game for Carver, and in fact, they're going to go for 2 here, but no flag was thrown.
7-point lead for Carver.
And Carver has to burn their final timeout. The play clock was down to 5.
And the game clock is at 52 seconds. Chad, another third down big play for Carver's offense.
They've been phenomenal on third down here tonight. 8 of 9 on third downs. If you do that, you put yourself in a lot of really, really good situations making plays. Just incredible to be that efficient. And that's the thing. Vestavia's done a really good job on the early downs of putting them in bad situations, but then they've convert. For context, last year, Vestavia opponents were 59 of 153 on third down for a 38%. 38% conversion rate on third down last year were opponents against Vestavia. Instead, Carver's up around 90% in this ball game here tonight.
So the Wolverines will go for 2. Under a minute remaining here in the second quarter.
And every point's going to matter in this ball game. If you're able to get a stop here for Vestavia, you're still within 7. So a touchdown, an extra point could tie it right back up. So big point after attempt here.
Man in motion, Russell flips it at the last minute, and that's a conversion. And again, look at the size of TK Norman. Great play by Russell, keeping the ball and the play alive, Chad.
Did a great job. He was right there at the line of scrimmage when he threw that football. Thought he might run and keep that ball, and Mike could have. Instead, he throws it in the back of the end zone, and those Carver receivers, once again, did a really nice job of knowing where they are, keeping their feet in the end zone and making the catch.
So with under a minute to go, the Wolverines, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Robert Evans told us during the week, he said he always circles a number for each team that he plays. He feels that he's got to get his team into the mid or upper 30s tonight, and he's very prophetic right now because it's 21-12.
And for Vestavia, 2 field goals where they didn't get touchdowns. They got field goals on 2 different chances, so that makes a difference.
Big scoop and score early. It was 13-0 Carver. And for the Rebels, that man, Chase Webb, rather. Webb on the return. All these kicks have been short. We'll see if that plays later on by the time we get to the fourth.
And you said it, Kurt. You obviously can't take it away, but Carver's first score of the night was on a scoop and score. So if you take that turnover off the board, and it's a very evenly matched football game, very entertaining football game. Now with 47 seconds left, Vestavia has 1 timeout. We'll see how aggressive they choose to be.
Taft with a single setback. Charlie gets out of the pocket and just in time got rid of it. Incomplete. He was going down, used his athleticism to keep that play alive.
Good pressure by Carver in the backfield. Thought Taft might tuck it and run. Had some open space as that play developed across the middle of the field, but as he went, just got wrapped up and had to throw it away.
Luke Stubbs, who caught the touchdown, was the intended receiver. Handoff. Stiff arm. And over the 40 with less than 30 seconds left to go. And that's Purdy ridden out of bounds.
It was a good counter play there. Showed flow to the right, came back to the left. Third down, 23 seconds left.
You remember the kicker again, Owen Simpson. I've seen him in the upper 40s in practice. Taft takes his time. That's going to be too far. Intended for Webb. A great play design. And a little too much air underneath by Charlie Taft, the sophomore quarterback.
Webb was one-on-one to the outside. Went with a quick fake to the outside and then went deep and out and up. Not really out and up, just a hitch and go. Carver did have a safety rolling over the top, but Taft threw that one just a little bit too long, so with 11 seconds left, Simpson punts it away.
Yeah, Simpson's punt will bounce and bounce. Can the Rebs get there? No. It will be a touchback. And that will also end the first half. So Chad mentioned it. My broadcast partner said entertaining at the break. 21-12, Carver ranked 3rd coming in. Vestavia Hills ranked 10th coming in. We'll be back with our halftime activities, including a halftime interview after this.
At Birmingham Fastener, every day begins with our core values: integrity, grit, and accountability. We're on the lookout for talented individuals to join our sales and manufacturing teams at one of the nation's leading manufacturers. With over 15 locations nationwide, we offer endless opportunities for growth and success alongside incredible teammates. Be a part of shaping the future of American manufacturing and help us build our nation's infrastructure.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Renew and refresh.
Lifeline's ministry.
JH Outback focuses on strengthening family bonds with spouses, parents, and children to help in spiritual growth and life purpose. Join us for a fun-filled weekend together in an undistracted environment, enjoying the outdoors with great food, entertainment, and live music. JH Outback. Renew and refresh.
Welcome back to the AHSAA Kickoff Classic. We're at the half. Carver leads Vestavia 21-12. We are very pleased right now to be joined by the AHSAA Associate Executive Director, Ms. Kim Vickers. Ms. Vickers, thank you for joining us. This is an awesome event here at the Crampton Bowl, a great venue. Just talk about, this has been around for a while. We're really honored to be here playing in it. Talk about this event.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to come on. This event has been here in Montgomery now for several years. We used to call it the Champions Challenge. You know, for years it was we would bring in 2 groups that either made it to the semifinals, you know, from the previous season. But about 3 years ago, we started calling it, almost 4 now, this will be the 4th year, the Kickoff Classic, and just getting some teams in that we knew would be good competitive teams that would draw in big crowds, and it would be great for the city of Montgomery, but it was also a time to expose and basically showcase our talent from these teams. Well, tonight it's been some great games so far.
It's been really cool, and you've got the game played last night, Reeltown T.R. Miller. You got the college game with North Alabama played tomorrow, and that's one thing you guys do. You put on great events, and we're going to see some changes with the Super 7 coming up. In the past, we played at Auburn, we played at Alabama, we played in Birmingham. This year's in Birmingham, but we're not going to play at the campuses anymore due to the college football playoff.
That's right, yeah. You know, we hated to see that come to an end because Auburn and Alabama both have been great partners over the years to host the Super 7. Birmingham Protective Stadium is an elite venue. You know, in 2021, when we hosted it there for the very first time, we got a lot of positive feedback from everyone, the schools, the public, our fans. Everyone loved that venue. And because of the agreement, we actually will be there this year and next year. That was already in the plans because of the rotation between Alabama and Auburn. So for the 24 and 25 season, we'll be back at Protective. And then at that point, we'll start looking to see where we're going to host it in the future.
You're exactly right. That's an incredible venue. And after it was at Legion Field for so many years and then back in Protective, we love it. Obviously, being from the Birmingham area, we love it being played. But you're right. There are so many great venues across this state that have an opportunity. I had a chance to watch your press conference from earlier this week where you kind of kicked off the season. You talked about this event, and you got the opportunity to talk about kind of issues and things going on in the AHSAA. The big topic in all of football, NIL and transfers. Not only is that on the college level, that's something that you guys are monitoring and watching here on the high school level as well.
It is. You know, we hear a lot about the NIL, and several states around us, surrounding what we call in our Section 3, the southern states, they all have put something in place that they're calling the NIL. Basically, they have clarified their amateur rule and basically went in there and said what students can do instead of focusing on what they can't do. I see us having to do something similar to that in the future. I'm old school, and I think high school athletics should stay as amateur status, but I do see us clarifying more of what they can do within our amateur rule, and that's what the other states have done, and they're calling it NIL. That will be a big challenge in the future. You know, we talk about you hear transfer portal for college athletes. There's no such thing in high school, even though kids think there is, there's not. They like to brag and say that they're transferring to another school, and people think, well, that's a transfer portal. No, it's not. You know, families are just packing up and they're moving. And if you heard that press conference that day, we're seeing more and more of that. Families pack up and move for athletics. 30 years ago, they wouldn't have done that. 2024, they're doing it. They'll pack up and move in a heartbeat for their child to have an opportunity to play somewhere else.
And it's really interesting, just, again, high school athletics and landscape. In Alabama, we have a new executive director here at the AHSA, too. So it's kind of a new time, new, exciting, fresh view from your perspective and the association's perspective as well.
It is. Mr. Heath Harmon came on staff July the 8th. He's come in the door running. You know, he's only been on site for a little over a month now, but doing a great job and eager to learn, and he'll definitely take us in the future.
And he's very fortunate to have you involved. You know, in Vestavia, we're really proud. We've got some outstanding individuals who've been involved with athletic. Buddy Anderson, obviously the legendary coach who's in the AHSA Hall of Fame. Our athletic director, Miss Myra Miles, is in the Alabama High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame. And then this summer, you were inducted, or more recently, you were inducted this year into the High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Talk about just your career, where it's gone. It started, you coached softball, you did some cheer coaching, and now here you are in administration.
Yeah, you know, I never dreamed I'd even be here. You know, when I started my career as an English teacher, I'm a master English teacher, and that's where I thought I would retire from. And yes, I have coached. Softball is my sport. I have coached softball for many years. Never thought I would see myself working at the association. But when Mr. Savarese, Coach Sav, hired me back in 2014, and I accepted it, been here, and from day one, I just kept working and thinking, because he always challenged me, and he says, where do you see yourself going? And I said, basically just here. And he said, no, do you ever see yourself in another position, like either the associate or the executive? And from that point forward, I started working toward that. And getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, you know, some people called it a trailblazer. Out of the 100-year association, I was the first woman to ever be placed in one of those two positions, and that is a compliment. Never dreamed it would happen to me, but I am flattered and humbled. Don't feel deserved at all, because I just do my job. You know, that's what I tell people. I work hard. You know, I was raised that way. You work hard, you show up to work every day, and you do your best. Whether it's picking up paper off the floor or you're giving a speech or a presentation, you do your absolute best. And I've just been very fortunate to be placed in this position, and it is an honor to be in the Hall of Fame, but very humbling.
Well, we congratulate you. We appreciate all the work that you do for the association, for the high schools across the state, and all these kids that play athletics in the state of Alabama. We appreciate you being with us and all the work you do. That's Alabama High School Athletic Association Associate Executive Director, Ms. Kim Vickers. We'll be right back after this break.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
At Birmingham Fastener, every day begins with our core values: integrity, grit, and accountability. We're on the lookout for talented individuals to join our sales and manufacturing teams at one of the nation's leading manufacturers. With over 15 locations nationwide, we offer endless opportunities for growth and success alongside incredible teammates. Be a part of shaping the future of American manufacturing and help us build our nation's infrastructure.
Lifeline's ministry is necessary because God has ultimately called the body of Christ to manifest the gospel to vulnerable children. We see it beginning in the Old Testament in the Pentateuch. God continues to renew that call over and over and over again to the people. Lifeline, in its role, comes alongside the church with that very narrow specialization to allow the church to live out the mission that the church has been given to proclaim the gospel through orphan care.
You have to pay taxes. Ugh. It's just part of life. In the great state of Alabama, we have an awesome thing in our tax code called the Alabama Accountability Act, which allows you to redirect up to 100% of your state taxes to Scholarship for Kids, a scholarship granting organization that benefits partner schools like Restoration Academy. It's a no-brainer. Use your tax money for something that will make a huge impact at no cost to you. For more information, go to choosera.org.
Hey everyone, this is Chad Pilcher, and it is time for the kickoff of the 2024 high school football season. We are thrilled to be joined by Vestavia Hills High School head coach Robert Evans. Coach, thank you for being here. It's always exciting when it's time for the season to start, and for you, it's been a really incredible offseason. A lot of changes at home where maybe you're not sleeping quite as much.
Yeah, we feel, Ann and I feel incredibly blessed. So middle of March, we found out that we were placed with a baby in the adoption world. We've been in that world for several years, and so we had 2 weeks to get ready for our daughter, Birdie, and so we picked her up from Tuscaloosa 2 days after she was born on March the 26th, and it's been a whirlwind. And the good thing is, I kind of equate it to football. You know, I had no idea how to change a diaper, no idea how to make a bottle, no idea how to put a car seat in a car, but you just kind of figure it out after you get multiple days and weeks of repetition. And so now I'm a pro. And so I'm able to relate that to our guys, saying we are a rep program and we take pride in getting more 11-on-11 actual football reps than I believe any program in the country. We don't do a whole lot of 7-on-7 stuff. I just think when you get to November, the 11-on-11 reps add up over time, and it's no different by my estimation in parenting and doing all the things that do with caring for a baby. But Ann and I are incredibly blessed and very fortunate. We're very providentially placed with this baby girl, and she's a joy.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. On the football front, you're entering year 3 here as the head coach at Vestavia Hills. You've inherited a team that hadn't made the playoffs in a couple of years. You've gone to back-to-back playoff appearances, made it to the second round. Talk about where you are in year 3 as compared to maybe where you expected to be.
Well, yeah, I didn't really have an expectation on the front end. I did think we were going to be competitive year 1, but obviously we're 17-7 in 2 years. 4 of those losses have come to Thompson, who's been the best program in the state of Alabama the last 5 years, and we've been as competitive with them as anyone. And so I do think our systems are in place. That's a really big deal. I didn't appreciate that aspect of things on the front end, but having the same offense coordinator with Coach Franklin, having the same system, even though Coach Rainey is gone, but the same system, the same terminology is still in place defensively, and having the same special teams guys as well. All those things added together with the strength component and the expectations that our players have. They know how we operate, they know how we practice, and we've gotten literally tens of thousands of reps with a lot of the guys we're going to be playing with this year. I think that's advantageous for us. It's beneficial, and I think we are one of the top 10 programs in the state of Alabama, regardless of classification, and hopefully that shows this year.
Every couple of years, the HSA goes in, they change regions up, they move things around. There's some changes to the region this year, and you have a tough schedule this season.
Yeah, you know, it's probably a two-pronged answer, but our region is significantly tougher. We traded Chelsea and Spain Park for Prattville and Hillcrest. You know, Tim does a great job at Spain Park, and I really think, they wound up beating Trussville by whatever, 2 or 3 scores last year at the end of the season. So they have a talented roster, and he does a good job. But Coach Mitchell at Hillcrest is one of the best coaches in the state of Alabama. He's won multiple championships in Arkansas before he retired. They're a loaded roster. They lost a lot last year, but they've got prospects, a bunch of guys with offers. Then Hoover's going to be significantly better. They were down last year. Trussville is always competitive, and they've given us fits the last 2 years. And then Thompson is Thompson. And so, there just aren't any easy scheduling breaks. And then we lost, and really in a matter of about 10 minutes back in January, we lost 2 teams in Homewood and Mountain Brook that are local that we've played the last 50 years for a variety of reasons that I'm not going to get into. But we want to play those games, and I think the best high school sports are local because you factor in band and cheerleading and all the different people that want to come to games. But when that didn't happen, when they would no longer play us, we had to pivot. And so in my estimation, my job was to put us in big environments, playoff-like environments. And so called the state of Alabama and got the game with Carver at the Crampton Bowl, which we're excited about. And then very, very fortunate that Coach Etheridge at Auburn agreed to play a home and home. And so we'll be traveling to Auburn the Friday night before Auburn University opens up. And so there'll be a huge crowd there. There'll be a lot of tailgaters there. We have a huge Vestavia contingent that goes to school there. Our parents will make a weekend of it, and I'm sure it's Labor Day weekend on Lake Martin and have a good time. And that'll be a fun environment against a really quality team. And then Clay Chalkful at the end. So, we finished with Hoover and Clay. And so we have the hardest schedule in the state of Alabama, but I really do believe you get hardened when you try difficult things over and over and over again to where your norm is just elevated and raised. And that's my estimation. If we're dead wrong, we'll know in 2 years and we'll schedule accordingly the next cycle.
Thank you for joining us. It is almost time for high school football, and we're looking forward to watching this team play throughout the season as they go out on the field. You can catch the action all season long right here on the One Rebel Athletics YouTube page, on the Vestavia Athletics app. You'll see head coach Robert Evans and the Vestavia Rebels on the field.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
At Birmingham Fastener, every day begins with our core values: integrity, grit, and accountability. We're on the lookout for talented individuals to join our sales and manufacturing teams at one of the nation's leading manufacturers. With over 15 locations nationwide, we offer endless opportunities for growth and success alongside incredible teammates. Be a part of shaping the future of American manufacturing and help us build our nation's infrastructure.
We're back at the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, the cap city of Alabama. Halftime score, it's an entertaining game, 21-12. Carver out in front. Kurt Bloom along with Chad Pilcher. Coach went viral. You just had a great interview with him, and he had some very interesting comments. He didn't know. He probably couldn't have afforded to buy the kind of publicity he brought to the Vestavia Hills program. He was talking about the athletes that we've seen for the first half. Chad, won't you expand on that?
Yeah, they had a press conference prior to this game. It was last Wednesday to kind of preview it and get ready. They really did a nice job. We talked to Miss Vickers about she was involved in that press conference as well. And Coach took a couple players down there, talked about the season, all the things that he expected. had a great opportunity to talk about the strengths of his team and what he thought he would see from the team. And then he was talking about the game, and he was asking a very simple question to compare the types of athletes that are going to be on the field. And he was very honest and funny, and he talked very directly about one guy's going to Alabama, one's going to Texas A&M, one's going to Florida, one has 20 offers, and we've got a bunch of guys that will probably be cheering for those guys next year. And it's funny to hear Coach, as he said, he came back, went straight to practice after driving back from Montgomery. He got done. He had to actually go speak at Briarwood that night with a couple other coaches at an event, and he said when he got to back to Birmingham, there were about 10,000 views. By the time he got to the Briarwood event, there were about 250,000 views, and by the time it finished that night, it was at 850,000. And then depending on the platform, there's actually been several platforms where that video has gone over 1 million views on several different very popular platforms, and it's really incredible, just the power of social media. You're right, you couldn't buy that, and Coach was very clear on, look, people kind of read the comments, which you never should do on social media.
Sure,
some people questioning, was he talking negatively about his players?
Absolutely
he wasn't.
not, no.
And if you heard the 20 minutes at the press conference, or you heard what he said after those 10 seconds, you would have heard some incredible complimentary comments that he made about his players that he is very confident in, that he believes in greatly, that you've seen what they've done tonight is exactly what he described coming in to this season. But the reality is, when you look at who's getting recruited and who's not, Carver's got the guys, 17 of them, in fact, that have been offered Division I scholarships. Vestavia's got a couple that may go play. So it's just a vast difference from a pure talent, a prospect perspective, but that doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of that quote. That's the beauty of that comment, is in high school football on a Friday night, it doesn't matter where you're going to play or if you're ever going to play again after high school. You've got just as much opportunity if you prepare and you put your mind to what you want to accomplish. And we saw this here in the first half for Vestavia. But it was a viral moment, something a lot of people were talking about. My phone was even blowing up when that happened. And Coach said while he was at the event that evening, he's speaking, and the entire time his phone just, the battery was dead by the time he left the event because it had been dinging so much. So a really interesting, neat event that went viral for Coach Robert Evans. And I think what he said, what he predicted, has come true. You've seen some really incredible plays by this Carver skill position players, but you've seen Vestavia answer the bell. They've stayed in it. We said coming into this ball game, Vestavia cannot afford to turn the football over. What do? First drive of the game, you turn it over. Carver takes it to the house. They took a 6-0 lead. And so that's really the kind of why you've seen this score extended. And then for Vestavia coming up with stops on third down, they've just not been able to do it. Carver 8 of 9 on third down opportunities. Vestavia 0 for 6 on third down opportunities. That tells the difference. And I'll say what's really kept Vestavia in the game is they only have 1 penalty for 12 yards, whereas Carver has 8 penalties for 80 yards. So Vestavia has been very disciplined, but they haven't been able to convert. And likewise, Carver's done a great job of converting, but they haven't been very disciplined. And so that's kind of where this game extends. And ultimately, Carver just made one more play. You come up with that big touchdown pass right before the half. That's what extended this lead, gave them 8 points. They got the touchdown and then the 2-point conversion, so it takes you to 21-12. So the Rebels will have to do a little clawing back, and unfortunately, Carver's going to get the ball to start this half.
When you talk about Robert Evans, he's pretty much a quote machine, and one of the quotes he had during the week with us, he said that this Carver team might have the best skill players of any team that we face this year. And you see them in space. Norman, Crumpton, and Rogers, when they get space, they turn 7 into 12 into 15, and there were a couple of kickbacks that could have gone long, but mistakes were made there too. He also mentioned that the third and fourth quarters are going to be so important. You've seen the tempo. It's actually, if I could say this, Chet, I think that they're a tad slower than I thought, than we expected in terms of that. And that just might be, again, getting the rust out, first game, first real game, and you're not even on your own home stadium. But that being said, for Vestavia Hills to win games like this, they've got to see guys on the other team, as we did, with cramps and bending over and getting fatigued, which will happen a little bit later on tonight.
And he's going to push them to do that, not only tonight, but throughout the season. And as we look at the schedule for this season, this is arguably the most difficult schedule in all the state of Alabama. I would challenge you to send me another one that's tougher. I know you'll see the Hoovers and Thompsons playing some out-of-state teams, but I would still put this one up week to week. You look at, obviously, week 1 here, Carver, Some polls have them at 12. Other polls have them as high as number 3 in the state of Alabama. Next week, Vestavia has to go on the road again to Auburn, that is ranked number 4 in the state. Week 3, Vestavia finally comes home where they'll play Hewitt-Trussville. They're ranked number 8. Hillcrest-Tuscaloosa, week 4 on the road. They're either number 9 or number 10. And then Thompson at home, they're number 2. I can't imagine a 5-week stretch any tougher than that anywhere in the state of Alabama, arguably in any high school football. To face teams of that caliber 5 weeks in a row, then Vestavia will take a week off before going on the road to Prattville, on the road to Oak Mountain, home against Tuscaloosa County, at Hoover, and then finish the season at home against Clay Chalkville, who's, not a 7A team, but the defending 6A state champion who starts the year ranked number 3 in the state. This schedule is absolutely brutal, and the Rebels are going to have to bring it every Friday night.
We'll talk about that last team, Clay Chalkville. They beat Thompson last year at Thompson, and that was a big upset at that time, perhaps. And then you look at Chalkville winning the state title, and Thompson fell just short. And you look at that schedule like you just read. I'm looking for a landing spot, some soft landing. It's not there. It's not on the schedule.
And not only that, because of how this schedule played out, again, Homewood, Mountain Brook not on the schedule this year. Right. Vestavia coming down to play in this awesome event. Next week, they'll be on the road against a very challenging Auburn team. You'll get a back 2 years in a row, home and away. But again, only 4 home games for the Rebels. So you're going on the road. You're playing challenging environments. And if you want to grow up really, really fast, that's the way to do it. And the beauty of this schedule is that if Vestavia can fight, can survive, can get into the playoffs, they are going to be battle-tested. They are going to be ready to go when the playoffs start. But again, we'll see what happens in this second half, and these first 5 weeks are absolutely critical.
And I think the first couple of minutes are going to be critical here in the third quarter, where Carver is going to get the ball. And if they march down the field, they hit that explosive play. And it's going to be a higher mountain to climb for the Rebels, who trail by 9 as the third quarter is about to begin here in what is the 2024 Kickoff Classic from the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery. One more reminder, we know you don't have video. I've seen a couple of comments, Chad. We know you don't have video. We are live audio, and it's just restrictions that we had to work around. We'll be ready with pictures and sounds and sights next week. But here comes Carver. And a good run back by Rogers. Rogers in space, and Rogers near midfield, over midfield, and into Rebel territory.
Goodness gracious. Just an outstanding run by Rogers. Vestavia's continued to kick it deep. Simpson has been unable to get any touchbacks. Hasn't been able to get one in the end zone. That's something he did regularly last season. Has not had one tonight, and that is a huge run back by Rogers to start this second half.
T.J. Russell, 12 for 15 in that first half with 154 yards. He used Berry as a runner, and Rogers was more in the passing game. Far hash mark for the Wolverines, and Russell wants to go in the air, out of the gate, and it is caught. Touchdown on the first play. It's T.K. Norman.
We kept saying, when are they going to take a shot at Norman? They'd taken shots. They had not gone to him. That time they did, and he got some nice separation. No one within about 10 yards on the post route. And that's a huge start and a tough, tough start for Vestavia, as Carver with the big-time touchdown pass to start the second half.
And the Rebels will have to fight through adversity again. So just like in the first quarter, couple of minutes, a fumble, scoop, and score. They were down before he can blink. And Russell hits the bomb. Welch gets the extra point. So just one play in, 27-12. Carver in front. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm all about it. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm all about it. Yeah, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Third quarter underway and a thunderous beginning for Carver. Long touchdown pass from T.J. Russell to his star wide receiver T.K. Norman. So the Rebels waiting for the kick. All these kicks have been short by Welch. And at the 20, out to the around the 40-yard line, Chase Webb.
We talk about these big athletes on that series. Rogers, the Alabama commit, with the 48-yard kickoff return. And then Norman, the Texas A&M commit, with a 48-yard touchdown reception to give Carver the lead. One thing Coach Robert Evans said coming into this game, we can't have turnovers. We can't give up the big play. They had the turnover to start the first half. They gave it the big play to start the second half. The good news for the Rebels is you still got a lot of time left. 11 minutes, 34 seconds left here in this third quarter. And the Rebels, after giving up an early score in the first half, clawed back, fought back to get themselves in position. So we'll see if they can do that again here in this second half.
Taff on the screen. All of a sudden, a short gain becomes near first down territory. Carson Mann with the reception.
The Rebels have to be good on first down. They've got to get positive yardage starting out, and this tempo has to go. Vestavia has a chance if Carver gets tired late in the fourth quarter and the game is still close.
About 9 on that first yard. Here's Purdy, first down. Rebels, first down more. Purdy at around the 22, a long gainer. Carson Purdy getting some carries that William Tonsmeyer usually gets.
Stephon Andrews made that tackle.
Maybe a yard that time. That's Whit Williamson. Rebels trying to answer.
We spent a lot of time talking about the offense, but Andrews, their linebacker, is a guy has offers from Alabama State, Gardner Webb, Faulkner, and others.
Taff has three receivers, and it's intercepted. Here comes Carver at the 50, the 40, the 30, and inside the 15. Number 1. And that's Corey McMeans with the interception and the long return.
We'll start with the positive. That was an incredible play by Charlie Taff. Despite throwing the interception, he could have given up on it. He gave 100% effort running down the field and made the tackle to prevent Carver from scoring another touchdown. Kudos there. On the pass, it was a quick slant route. It was one-on-one coverage on the outside, and Taff just threw the ball behind him. Just threw it behind him. The receiver had good positioning. The ball was thrown behind, and Carver made a nice play, and off he went to the races.
6 you didn't get, and now 6 you need to prevent if you're the Rebels defensively. Russell. Hand off to Berry. Berry gets out of bounds after a couple of yards. Monty Hedgeman, the senior nose guard.
And that's great effort by this Vestavia defense. You're at the point in this ball game, Carver's already put up a big score. They're looking to really extend this lead. The defense needs to come up and hold the Wolverines to 3.
Agree. And 3's not guaranteed for Carver. T.J. Russell over the middle, caught, touchdown. That was a little bit too easy that time for the Wolverines. Cargill Crumpton on the touchdown reception.
Yeah, just a quick play fake and then wide open over the middle. Nobody in coverage. The play fake sucked the linebackers in. Crumpton's able to get behind those defenders and into the end zone. Good throw once again by Russell. And a booming start to this second half for the Carver Wolverines.
So they take advantage of the turnover. Welch, that one was blocked by the Rebels, so the score will remain as is. Carver 34, Vestavia Hills 12. We'll be back from the Crampton Bowl after this.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
34-12, Carver in front of Vestavia Hills. Another key turnover. There was a scoop and score, and then the interception long return turned into a touchdown. Welch with a short kick once again. And the Rebels will get it at about the 42, so they will get good field position. Webb again on the kick. What do you do here, Chad? Do you throttle down a little bit and play it safe with run, or
I think you've got to go even
tempo
faster.
it out?
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got plenty of time left in this ballgame. You just have to put back-to-back plays, and you have to avoid the mistakes. The reality is you've given up a big play, you gave up a touchdown right before the half, and then from an offensive perspective, you've played pretty well. But, again, the fumble that led to a touchdown and then the interception that led to a touchdown.
Here's Charlie Taft going over the middle, trying to get some yardage. Incomplete, intended for Luke Stubbs.
And just nothing doing that time for the Rebels. Great coverage in the secondary for Carver. Running step for step with Stubbs. Really nothing Taft could do other than just throw the ball deep and throw it away.
Second down for the Rebs. Taft pitches. Purdy with a flag down. Purdy had to save that, otherwise that's a turnover.
That was almost disaster for the Rebels. Looks like they're going to actually get bailed out. Well, the penalties, they're going to call holding against Vestavia, so that's going to be another big loss for the Rebels. Carver will decline that penalty.
We'll remind you that coming into this game, according to some polls, Carver number 3 in the state. It's amazing. They were 6A last year. They've moved up to 7A. Brand new coach, but they have tremendous speed and skill players.
Combined this year with Sidney Lanier. That school closed after operating since 1929. All those students have moved to the Carver campus. Once rivals, now playing together.
They inherited a handful of those football players, did Carver. Flag is coming down. Charlie Taft gets to midfield. We'll see if this comes back or they tack on more.
It's coming back.
You think so? If you spring a guy like that, your first inclination is somebody held or clipped.
It's a nice play by Taft to escape the rush, but he was aided. With a little assist from his offensive lineman, they're going to, we'll see if they call it a hold or a block in the back. They call it a hold. And so that's going to be, again, going backwards for the Rebels. Taft got enough yards that would have picked up a first down. Instead, they're going to mark it off, going to take him all the way back inside the 30. It's another one of those plays. Again, if not for the hold, he probably doesn't get that far. But instead of being inside the 45, you're all the way back to the 30. You're looking at about a 27, 28 yards in actual yardage loss as a result of that penalty.
26, according to the scoreboard. Just to get a first down. Now we've got a whistle. I believe a timeout.
Carver had too many men on the field, a little discombobulation for the Wolverines, so they take a timeout, and we'll take it with them. We'll be right back. Carver leads Vestavia 34-12.
At Birmingham Fastener, every day begins with our core values: integrity, grit, and accountability. We're on the lookout for talented individuals to join our sales and manufacturing teams at one of the nation's leading manufacturers. With over 15 locations nationwide, We offer endless opportunities for growth and success alongside incredible teammates. Be a part of shaping the future of American manufacturing and help us build our nation's infrastructure.
Renew and refresh. JH Outback focuses on strengthening family bonds with spouses, parents, and children to help in spiritual growth and life purpose. Join us for a fun-filled weekend together in an undistracted environment enjoying the outdoors with great food, entertainment, and live music. JH Outback. Renew and refresh.
Back at the Crampton Bowl here in Montgomery. Kurt Bloom along with Chad Pilcher and our beautiful crew behind us. Again, we thank you for tuning in on the One Rebel Athletics. We know there's no video. There's plenty of audio. Intercepted for Carver. It was tipped, and here come the Wolverines. The 30, a move towards the 25, inside, and then finally taken down.
That pass was intended for Carson Mann down the sidelines. You don't have many plays for 3rd and 28. 3rd and 26. Taft let it rip down the sideline, trying to get to Mann. Really good coverage in the secondary by
Greg Tate.
The ball was deflected up off of Mann's hands. Tate able to take it down. He then came all the way to the near side, all the way back to the far side until ultimately Carson Mann was able to bring him down. Great effort by Mann the entire time. And Carver's on the sideline with the WWE belt, the turnover belt they're celebrating, and that's their 3rd big turnover of the night.
Mann was hit. Russell was hit. Pass incomplete. Don't see a flag. But, Russell got that away before he suffered the sack.
For Vestavia, this thing pretty close to getting out of hand. You've got to bring pressure. You've got to try and make something happen, take a risk to see if maybe you can knock something loose or prevent them from scoring. You're willing to give up a big play to try and get us a big stop.
Roll out. Russell looking for Rogers, incomplete. Rogers more involved in the passing game than the running game, as there is a Carver player hurt. Man down for the Wolverines. And we'll take a timeout from the Crampton Bowl. Carver 34, Vestavia Hills 12.
At Birmingham Fastener, every day begins with our core values: integrity, grit, and accountability. We're on the lookout for talented individuals to join our sales and manufacturing teams at one of the nation's leading manufacturers. With over 15 locations nationwide, we offer endless opportunities for growth and success alongside incredible teammates. Be a part of shaping the future of American manufacturing and help us build our nation's infrastructure.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Renew and refresh. JH Outback focuses on strengthening family bonds with spouses, parents, and children to help in spiritual growth and life purpose. Join us for a fun-filled weekend together in an undistracted environment enjoying the outdoors with great food, entertainment, and live music. JH Outback. Renew and refresh.
All right, the injured player was Tyquan Martin, the right guard. Carver on offense. Intended for TK Norman. They went for the end zone for the kill shot.
And so back-to-back big-time plays by this Vestavia defense turns Carver over on downs. We came back a little bit late. Vestavia with a sack on third down. Great pressure. Coach Evans dials it up, able to get the sack in the backfield against the Wolverines. And then on fourth down, Carver, again, they do not have much of a kicking game, not able to take a shot with a field goal. They go deep down the sideline, throw it too far, and Coach Evans is fired up about something. He's just gotten a penalty. He's all the way out to midfield. Not entirely clear what happened. Looked like there might have been some extracurricular activities that he was not happy about. There was an injured Vestavia player walking off the field. I don't think there's some unsportsmanlike conduct that was not called by the officials, but they have called now, throwing the flag against Coach Evans, who is out on the field to protect his players.
Again, we apologize. Unfortunately, without windows that open, we don't have the crowds or the refs mic'd up, rather, so a little bit of a guessing game on what and who. That being said, here come the Rebels in the third quarter. Taff, pitch inside. Some running room to the 22 by number 22. That's Bruce Littleton, the H-back.
Southern Miss baseball commit with a nice run there. I like that play. We've seen it a couple of times. Flow left, bring Littleton underneath to the right. That's a nice gain on first down.
Purdy.
And not much doing there. Really only a gain about 1.5 yards. And it's a tough situation for the Rebels. You're down 22. It feels like you're in a tough situation, and you are, but there's still a ton of time left in this ball game. Just over 7 minutes to go, and we're still in the third quarter.
Third down and 5 for the Rebels. Pressure coming. Taft gets rid of it just in time. Coming from Stefan Andrews, who's had a big game from that spur linebacker position. Chad, if we're not going to take a break, you need to define what that spur means.
Yeah, it's a player that's a strong side. They're going to move around. And that time, that's the type of play. Carver obviously bringing a blitz from the front side, and that's tough when a player is unblocked. I don't know what the coverage was or the blocking assignments were there, but when you're a right-handed quarterback, as Taff is, that is the blitzer coming in your face. That's the one you'd like that quarterback to be able to recognize, be able to pick up. Instead, just didn't see it. Taff was trying to throw the ball to the left side. And look, this kid is going to be phenomenal. He's playing really well tonight. But some of the things that happen when you're a young quarterback, stuff happens fast. You see a lot of movement, but then maybe you haven't seen before. And that time the ball came, again, the blitz coming right into his face. He's trying to go to the left side, but was just hit really, really hard. As he let go of that football, it floated up in the air, falls incomplete, and now the Rebels have punted it away to Carver. Carver's going to take over to start this drive on their own 37-yard line.
Here comes T.J. Russell and the Carver Wolverines. Handoff and met right at the head of, no, it's a fake. And Carver's still with it. Oh, what a ball fake that was, and then finally pushed out of bounds late.
That was an incredible play that time by Haynes Bridges. The sophomore flies into the backfield, has a big hit on the running back, wraps him up, and as he's pulling him down, we thought we had a big tackle for loss. Instead, T.K. Norman somehow pulled that ball out and took off running and picked up about 15 yards. Just unbelievable. And it's just more. We hate to sound like a broken record, but the athleticism on this Carver team, that was a phenomenal play.
First down at the 45 for Carver. Man moved on the right side. Even I can see that one. And that should be a false start.
And that last run is just a great example of what you really like to see from Russell. Just a guy who's played a lot. He played all last season, just understands the offense, makes good decisions with the football. He's been there. He's been through it. And that was just a great job on that last play. Again, pulling the ball out at the last minute and taking off and running.
Russell. Put the ball in the air. Looking for T.K. Norman. And incomplete. Good coverage. Real tight, good coverage from Owen Wilbanks.
A great job of Wilbanks getting over the top. He caught that football, but just not able to get his foot down in bounds.
Been a tough night and a real long night for a guy like Owen Wilbanks going against either Norman or Crumpton, a pair of 6'2" wideouts with great speed, and they could jump through the Crampton Bowl to the top of this press box. Russell again. And Russell's going down this time. Sacked by the Rebs. I see Haynes Bridges is part of the sack there.
Josh Arundel in as well. And that's a great job by this Rebel defense, cranking up the pressure, getting into the backfield. And that's what you're going to have to do. You've got to take some risks. Look, if they want to hit a shot or take a shot down the field, they're going to do that, and they have the athletes that go high point you and try to catch the ball out of the air, but you've got to take a risk and try to get in the backfield and make him throw it before he wants to.
3rd and 18. Here comes some pressure, and Russell gets intercepted. Cross Tonsmeyer. Still running. 35-yard line.
And Vestavia cranks up the pressure again. They hit Russell as he lets go of the football. Tonsmeyer back in coverage, did a great job of recognizing the play, stepping in front, coming up with the interception, gets all the way to the Carver 35-yard line, and now Vestavia is in business. That takes us to the 6-minute heat timeout. Carver up 34-12. Vestavia's got the ball. We'll be right back.
Lifeline's ministry is necessary because God has ultimately called the body of Christ to manifest the gospel to vulnerable children. We see it beginning in the Old Testament in the Pentateuch. God continues to renew that call over and over and over again to the people. Lifeline, in its role, comes alongside the church with that very narrow specialization to allow the church to live out the mission that the church has been given to proclaim the gospel through orphan care.
Spence Hanna put the pressure on, allowing the Spur linebacker Cross Tonsmeyer to make the interception, a good run back. And Vestavia Hills, so you got all the fourth quarter, and you got 5+ minutes here. You just want to make a dent, and you want to finish on a positive. You could make this thing close, get on that bus, and feel real good about taking on the third-ranked team. And here's one of those sets of downs there where Taff and the Rebels have got to punch this in for 6.
And if you get interceptions and turnovers like that, then you give yourself a chance to win the game. But now you have to take advantage of opportunities when you get. Vestavia can't settle for 3 points right here. They have to go put the ball in the end zone after a huge play. The blitz by Spence Hanna with the pressure, the interception by Cross Tonsmeyer. Now the Rebels' offense is onto the field.
Running back is Purdy. Fake handoff, play action. Taff, under some duress, keeps this play alive. Look at that spin move at the 29, and then it gets shoulder tackled out of bounds by Stephon Andrews, who's having a monster game.
Yeah, we've seen Andrews all night just bringing it. That's his 6th tackle, and that time, I mean, it was almost just a forearm shiver. But he gave a shot to Taff, and now Taff's actually walking off the field.
And Price LeMaster, the backup, has to come in.
Yeah, I think he's a little woozy over there on the sideline. He took a shot, and it looked like Andrews went high with that forearm. May have gotten him in the head.
So another sophomore. We're talking the preseason. All 4 quarterbacks listed on this roster are sophomores. And here's LeMaster. That ball got deflected, rather. Incomplete. Trying to hit Chase Webb.
Tried just a quick hitch route for LeMaster to the outside. Got rid of it very quickly, but big-time pressure by Carver, almost like they were sensing it was going to be something short. They were bringing pressure off the offensive right side. Vestavia now has trips to the left.
Hand off to Purdy, gets to the 30.
So a really conservative play call on that. It was 3rd and 16. Vestavia picks up 1. Now it's, 3rd and 6. They pick up 1. Now it's 4th and 5.
Going for it. LeMaster has got a man in the flat and dropped, unfortunately, for the Rebs. First down, and sometimes you get so much green in front of you, you're thinking about marching in the end zone before you secure the ball.
That was a pretty good throw that time by LeMaster. He put it out there. Purdy, instead of running and catching it kind of over his shoulder on the run, instead he tried to spin backwards to catch it and just looked like he got a little confused as he was spinning. Ball hit his hands but fell down incomplete. If he could have caught that on the run, he probably picks up the first down. Instead, ball falls incomplete and the Rebels turn it over on down, so they're not able to take advantage of that interception.
Russell has tried to hit that home run ball after turnovers, but a handoff to Trey Berry, and Berry gets out to the 40. And as mentioned earlier, Berry, a senior, might play second fiddle to a guy who's going to Alabama, but his offers include Illinois State, App State, and FIU, amongst others. I was trying to find Charlie Taff in the tent, Chad. He was in and then has come out. But meanwhile, here's Rogers with a flag down. Rogers near a first down.
Yeah, but that one's going to come back. It's going to be a hold against Carver. Time of possession, Carver coming up on just shy of 18 minutes time of possession. Vestavia 14 minutes, 39 seconds.
I wonder if that's that number 2.
Hold against Carver is the call, so that's going to back the Wolverines up. We've got a Carver player cramping over on the Vestavia sideline, so the officials will go check on him. And as this game goes along, you talk about the plays and how it's going. Total yards here tonight. Carver, 291 total yards of offense, just shy of 300. Vestavia, 152. So about half as many offensive yards for the Rebels. Again, you're coming in, new situation. A lot of new players here for the Rebels. A really tough opponent. You're looking to replace a quarterback who started for you the past 2 years in John Paul Head, who had a phenomenal year, about 3,000 yards of total offense, 38 touchdowns. He's gone. Gone from your defense is Jordan Ross, the 5-star recruit that's now at the University of Tennessee. So the Rebels had a lot of pieces to replace and a really tough schedule to start out. They've looked really good at times here tonight, but they've just made some mistakes that have made it really difficult. Fortunately for the Rebels, Carver has also had penalties. They've had 10 penalties for 95 yards that have been a boost to the Rebs.
This is a 1st and 20 from the 30. Flushed out of the pocket, T.J. Russell. And the Rebs knock him out of bounds at around the 36. Jacob Watson, middle linebacker, or they call him the Mike now.
That's Watson's 7th tackle on the night. He and Grayson Bruno both at 7 for the Rebels.
2nd down of 14 for Carver. They're 36. Russell on the slant, caught. What a bullet that was for a first down at the 39-yard line. And there wasn't a whole lot of room right there, but he just threaded the needle.
That ball was thrown so well. He threw it to C.J. Cargill, and it almost stuck in his face mask. I mean, that was just an absolute bullet. I don't know that Cargill was even looking. I mean, the ball just hit him. There's no way he could drop it with how well that ball was thrown by Russell.
T.J. Russell last year, 2,400 yards, 25 touchdowns. Hands off to Trey Berry inside the 40. Russell getting offers from UNA, Western Kentucky, Samford, amongst others.
Speaking of UNA, they will play here tomorrow on ESPN Primetime Football. It's the FCS kickoff classic on ESPN. University of North Alabama playing Southeast Missouri State here at the Crampton Bowl. The ESPN trucks are set up here. They've got everything ready to go for tomorrow's game. A whole weekend of football here in Montgomery.
Berry, after a bad handoff, we'll give him 1 yard. Russell did a nice job, his athleticism, making sure that that was not a fumble. TJ Terrell Russell, 6'1", 185 senior. Quarterbacking the Carver Montgomery Wolverines. To throw. He's got Rogers. Nice open field tackle. Leighton Downey. That one-on-one tackle, Chad.
And that was a nice job as a zone blitz by Vestavia. They dropped the defensive ends out. Russell goes with the short hitch route to the outside. That's going to bring up a 4th down. 40 seconds left in this third quarter. The play clock is at 20. Carver looking to the sidelines, trying to decide what they would like to do.
Rogers will come out.
Play clock at 4.
19 seconds remaining.
Coach Carr takes a timeout right.
Right at the at about 1 millisecond of a on the clock. All right, 17 seconds remaining, third quarter. Carver 34, Vestavia 12. We'll be back.
At Birmingham Fastener, every day begins with our core values: integrity, grit, and accountability. We're on the lookout for talented individuals to join our sales and manufacturing teams at one of the nation's leading manufacturers. With over 15 locations nationwide, we offer endless opportunities for growth and success alongside incredible teammates. Be a part of shaping the future of American manufacturing and help us build our nation's infrastructure.
Carver in front, waning moments of the third quarter. 34-12.
4th and 4 from the 34. This is where, if you're Carver, you just put it up to one of your big-time receivers. You could obviously run the ball, too, if you'd like. It's a short yardage situation. Vestavia showing pressure.
Norman, near side, makes a move. And he's going down.
That was the perfect defensive call by this Vestavia staff. Carver elects to run the football. Vestavia was bringing 8. Run blitz, perfect pressure, and a big stop for the Rebels. This defense has done a good job. They've given up over 300 yards, but they've been out there a lot. They've made big plays when they needed to. Again, the two big turnovers have really resulted in 12 of the 34 points. Now we'll see if the offense can get something going on what should be the last play of the third quarter.
Well, good news for the Rebs as Taff is back in there. And on a screen play, completes it to Bruce Littleton that will empty out the third quarter. So from the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, 3 quarters in the books, 1 remaining. Carver 34, Vestavia Hills 12. Back right after this.
I'm all about it. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm all about it. Yeah, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Yeah, 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 yeah,
You have to pay taxes. Ugh. It's just part of life. In the great state of Alabama, we have an awesome thing in our tax code called the Alabama Accountability Act, which allows you to redirect up to 100% of your state taxes to Scholarship for Kids, a scholarship granting organization that benefits partner schools like Restoration Academy. It's a no-brainer. Use your tax money for something that will make a huge impact at no cost to you. For more information, go to choosera.org.
Pass completes to the 35-yard line, caught by Zach Laws. Sophomore to sophomore.
And while we took a break, that was actually an untimed down that Vestavia just ran. On the last play of the third quarter, Vestavia ran the screen play to Littleton, where Littleton had a nice gain on first down. There was a block in the back against Vestavia, so that backed them up. That play was a 1st and 15. They pick up about 6 on what was then first down. So now it'll be about 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10. And they're going to flip the field. And for Vestavia, now you have 12 minutes left. You can see on this Carver sideline, guys cramping up. They're getting tired. For Vestavia, what you hope to have happened is happening. Unfortunately for the Rebels, they just didn't get anything going offensively, and that was because of the turnovers. Had 2 interceptions there in that third quarter that led the points for the Wolverines. And so on this offensive drive, for Vestavia to get back in this ballgame, they're going to have to go put points on the board. They need a touchdown. You're kind of at the point where field goals don't really help you at this point in the ball game. So, but there's no reason to panic. You can continue to run your offense like you have throughout the football game. You just have to execute, protect the football, and move it up and down the field.
Chad, why don't you accentuate the positives right now? Down 34-12, 12 minutes left to go. But there, you mentioned it before, there are some signs, and film will indicate that there are some things to build on. Talk to me about that.
I love the way that Vestavia came out. They were very aggressive offensively, did a really nice job of mixing it up with offensive coordinator Josh Franklin. I think Taft has had some good moments here in this football game. Carson Purdy's done a really nice job running the football, 11 carries for 40 yards, including a 25-yarder. And the defense has come up with big plays when they needed them. Again, Carver started out 8 of 9 on third down. Now they're 8 of 12, so they've stopped them the last 3 times. Just not enough execution. And remember, again, Vestavia is doing this without what is arguably their best offensive weapon, William Tunsmeyer. He is out of this game and probably next week with an injury.
Good news for the Rebs again. Charlie Taft, who took a lick on the shoulder or even higher back in there at quarterback. Handoff. And not a whole lot. Good job by the Carver Wolverines swallowing up the ball carrier.
And Carver really starting to fly downhill in that run game. We've seen Vestavia get a couple of shots. They had the halfback pass for a touchdown earlier. If you can get some run action, you may be able to get those safeties to bite and potentially get something deep.
Taft with a 3rd and 7. Spin move. Gets rid of it and throws it right into the coverage of Carver, intercepted by Kendarius Reynolds, who brings it back to the 30. What happened there, Chad?
That's the 3rd interception of the night for Carver. Looked like Taft was trying to go deep down the field, but it was good coverage in the secondary, and he underthrew that ball. So started out, everything was going right side. Taft was looking to the right side. He then spun back around, looked to the left side, and again, just looked like, A, it was good coverage in the secondary by Carver. B, that ball was underthrown. And so that's the 3rd interception and the 4th overall turnover on the night for the Rebels.
What's been evident in this game is Carver's linebackers very, very lean and athletic and quick. They don't have the short, stout guys, some wiry guys instead. Here's Trey Berry, gets tripped up.
And this defense continuing to bring it. They have been on this field a long time, especially here in this second half.
Cross Tonsmeyer, who's on the defense for the Rebels. Russell. Berry inside the 30. Every time that Berry runs, he falls forward. Chad gets another 1.5 yards, 2 yards. And this should be a 3rd down and short.
That's the 20th carry of the night for Berry. 53 yards total. He also has a touchdown. Good tackle there by Jacob Watson, joined by Spence Hanna.
3rd down and 2. Let's see if Russell tries again for the home run ball here. Handoff. Should be enough for a 1st down.
They are going to mark him right at those sticks. I mean, it's going to be really, really close. Looks like he needed to get to the 23.
One more carry for Berry.
And they have marked it right at the 23. I mean, he needed to reach the 23. That's exactly where they've spotted it. So another 1st down for Carver. That's their 19th 1st down of the night compared to just 8 first downs for Vestavia.
Big beefy front line for Carver. 6'4", 270, 6'3", 295. Their center is 5'10", 280. They've got some grown men on that team on the line. Flag. There was some motion by Carver.
We'll call a delay of game against Carver on that play. That is Carver's 11th penalty. They have 100 yards in penalty yardage.
I love to do the math there, Chad. So in that equation, they have given Vestavia Hills a free
field.
You got a free field tonight, guys. Okay. Right. There's 100 yards of penalty. Right. Unfortunately for the Rebs, they have not taken full advantage of that many mistakes. Things to clean up going into the Auburn game. Russell with a completion. Zion Crumpton. You might slow down Norman, but now you got Crumpton on the other side. You slow down Crumpton. Cargill has made a nice play. They are deep at wide receivers.
And Crumpton, so big, 6'2", 175. He's only going to get bigger and stronger. Again, his body will develop. And we said it in the start, but Crumpton, he's the one, when you heard the viral quote, he's the one with 20 offers. And they include Auburn, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia Tech, and a lot of others.
If you're not a Power 5, do not apply. Over the middle, caught. Right at the 1. One more time for the guy we're talking about.
That's Crumpton's 5th catch, 79 yards. He is the leading receiver for the Wolverines on the night.
You just cannot scheme just on Norman. Norman can get you that home run play, but Crumpton will eat you alive. Another cramp. Again, we mentioned that this is what Robert Evans was banking on, that the heat, the humidity, the pace of his team would eventually wear down. But that being said, it's a pretty lengthy lead with 8.5 minutes to go. I believe that if I saw that correctly, that was Russell.
And the defense, again, they've given up a lot of yardage. You're at over 360 yards, but they've just been out there so much, and the turnovers for Vestavia have been just really killer. And how about, we'll talk about this stat, but when you talk about a defense having to be back on the field, Vestavia's offense is 0 for 10 on third down conversions tonight, compared to 9 for 13 for Carver.
This is a 1st and goal from the 1, and Barry. Wait for the signal. Barry says yes. The lights are going on and off. They are flickering, and so we're going to consider that a touchdown. 40-12, Carver in front.
And we don't like it when the other team does it, but that's one of the new additions to this Crampton Bowl Stadium. They put new lights in. They dance after touchdowns, and it does add a nice little atmosphere to the field. You see that in a lot of college stadiums across the country.
Harry Welch will attempt the PAT. Trying to get the 41st point, and he does. Remember what Robert Evans told us. He said, we got to get mid-high 30s at least. Well, Carver's at 40. Vestavia Hills at 12. We'll be back from the Crampton Bowl. Final 8 minutes and change after this.
Lifeline's ministry is necessary because God has ultimately called the body of Christ to manifest the gospel to vulnerable children. We see it beginning in the Old Testament in the Pentateuch. God continues to renew that call over and over and over again to the people. Lifeline, in its role, comes alongside the church with that very narrow specialization to allow the church to live out the mission that the church has been given to proclaim the gospel through orphan care.
Final 8 minutes and 22 seconds. Fourth quarter. Carver out in front, 41-12. I mentioned Carver moved up from 6A to 7A. They, last year, 5-1 in their region. They were Region 2 6A, 7-4 overall, but brand new coach coming in, lots and lots of experience. Bobby Carr, you mentioned 10 rings. I mean, he's got to go to the toes if they win another one. Fingers are all covered up. The short kick after the penalty, and the Rebels will start at the 41. Carson Mann on that return.
There was a penalty against Carver after that made PAT that backed him up about 5 yards. So even shorter kick, good field position for Vestavia at the 40-yard line. Bryce LeMaster is coming to the ball game at quarterback. You can imagine Charlie Taft's night is complete.
That's Purdy trying to get off the field. Otherwise, it would have been too many men on the field. Some tough yards for Bruce Littleton, who gets across the 50. As you mentioned, LeMaster is in there. But, Chad, I don't think, and this is a speculation, we don't think that it's an injury to Charlie. We think it's just the scoreboard more than anything else.
It's the scoreboard and letting him rest.
Flag on the play. Noah Boylan, who we saw often in that jamboree last week. Boylan with some shifty moves. There was a flag on the play. See if it's coming back.
Yeah, that's just been the tale of the night for Vestavia. Anytime they get something going, something comes back and negates it. They're going to call holding against the Rebels after back-to-back nice carries for Noah Boylan. Boylan did a really nice job in the jamboree last week. He is the brother of your starting center, Caleb Boylan. Thankfully, they get their athleticism from their mother.
And you know that?
But those two young men, again, Caleb starting for a returning starter at the center position, started last year as a sophomore, back this year to start as a junior in what's such an important position at the center. You're directing the offense, the offensive calls, and now his brother, Noah, getting an opportunity to run the ball. Whoa, what a throw. That should be targeting. And there comes the flag. Just a vicious hit.
Braxton Hunt
by Carver.
Took the hit. Flag immediately.
And he held on to the field. That should be, again, just went high, vicious, illegal hit.
Robert Evans out there looking at Braxton Hunt, who took a lick.
To the officials' credit, the flags came out immediately.
Immediately, yep.
But that is a dangerous play. Cannot do that. The Carver coach is also out at the field to check on.
That is Bobby Carr, I believe, with the visor. Am I correct?
Both he and several assistants and the Carver trainers out there as well. Very quickly. And that's very good to see.
Braxton Hunt
getting up and walking off the field on his own accord.
Only a freshman. This guy's got a lot of football.
That was, again, I'm glad he's okay. I don't know that we'll see him back in the ballgame either because that was a vicious hit. But what a play to hold on to that football. I mean, that was incredible. He took, I mean, it was catch, hit hard, and he held on to that ball.
You get targeting in college football, you're out, and you will miss the first half of the next game.
And it is an ejection, so. Again, good job by the officials of handling that situation. And thankfully, Hunt, again, walks off the field.
And a classy move by Bobby Carr going out there to check on the injured Rebel. This is important for Bryce LeMaster. You never know when you're going to get in. He's got good field position, plenty of time here. 7:10 remaining in the game. LeMaster taking over for Taft here late in the fourth quarter.
And that was a good throw on that last ball, too. Put it right on the money, right where it needed to be. So really nice job by LeMaster.
Chad, I was thinking about this. As you know the region and all the other teams, how does Carver compare to what Vestavia will see? You might want to we'll let a play go by, but I want to see where they rank amongst some of the other clubs that we will be tackling against. Noah Boylan with the run. Where do they fit against the Hoovers, the Thompsons, the Trussvilles of the world?
Well,
Hewitt Trussville.
If you were asking me this in the past, where they stood, they certainly wouldn't be up there. I mean, they're a team that's been to the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. They've lost in the first round and lost pretty handily. We have a screen pass to Boylan here.
Boylan. He's got nothing but green. Boylan looking for the end zone. He's in for 6. Noah Boylan on the screen.
Perfect execution there by the Rebels. Great job by LeMaster. When you run a screenplay at the quarterback position, it's really hard to be patient. Let everything come to you, and you have defenders coming in. You let them come, and then you let go of the football right at the last minute. Well executed by the Vestavia offensive lineman to show pass block, release down the field. They got good blocking down the field, perfect execution, and nice job of finishing that run by Boylan.
Boylan's got really good footwork, and that was on display in the Jamboree. He's got quick twitch, quick feet, does a lot of things really well. 6:38 remaining. The Rebels get a touchdown from sophomore Noah Boylan. We'll be back after this. So, Chad, I posed the question to you. When you look at Carver, give me a comp somewhere in the region.
It's hard to say because this is such a – it's interesting. You look at the Sports Writers Association poll that had them 12th, didn't even have them in the top 10. Some other folks who are around this a little more had them as high as number 3. This is a team that in the past has not been that successful. They haven't had a ton of success. Last year they got to the playoffs but lost in the first round of Briarwood 25-0. Back in 2021, they made the playoffs. They lost 56-6 to Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, who's now in Vestavia's region. 2020, they lost 22-19 to Helena. 2018, 17-0 to McAdory. They haven't had a ton of success. The last real successful year would have been 2013-14. They got to the third round in 13, the second round in 14. A lot of times when you see preseason rankings, it's based on what you did the year before.
Yes.
Moving up to 7A, you expect them to be challenged. But what you didn't really count for is, A, you combined with Sidney Lanier, which brought you some pretty good talent. Only about a dozen kids, but a handful are pretty darn good. Second, you have Rogers transfer in, which you couldn't have expected. Again, a kid's committed to Alabama. I think this is a top 5, top 6 football team preseason in the state of Alabama. I mean, this is clearly a top 10. There's no doubt they're a top 10 football team. Again, I think Vestavia still has a chance to be a team like that. We saw some really good flashes of good football here tonight. We just saw too many mistakes. You can't throw 3 interceptions. You can't have a scoop and score, a fumble that leads to a touchdown. Vestavia is not talented enough to overcome that sort of thing, especially when you go against a team like this. And now Carver is in expecting an onside kick, lined up with their hands team on the field. We'll see what Vestavia does as Carver's leading 41-19 with 6 minutes and 38 seconds left in this ballgame.
Yeah, the very talented Owen Simpson will boot it away. That's Rogers, of all people, inside the 5. Trying to go far side and is tackled from behind.
Look, I don't think this is a team that's up there. It's not a Central Phoenix City Thompson type situation, certainly not right now. But look, I mean, this is game 1 under a new coach. Game 1 in a new system. Game 1 with some kids playing together. where last season they were rivals and now they're playing on the same team. I think this is a team with a very high ceiling that looked really good tonight.
That's a great way of looking at it. Their high ceiling with all their skill players. And, Chad, if they're able to, moving forward, Carver able to eliminate 100 yards of penalties, they would be blowing people away.
Look, that's probably the one thing that kind of kept Vestavia in this football game is the 100-plus yards, now 122 yards of penalty yardage for Carver, and we just had another one. Let's
add a few more, yeah. Get the meter running, please.
13 penalties for 127 yards for Carver.
They've given Vestavia one free football field. They're working on their second one as we speak. Berry over the 20 at the 22. You look at some of the tackles being made. These Rebel defensive guys have not given up at all.
Now you got a turnover again. A cramp again. And had Vestavia been able to keep it a little bit closer, I think Coach Evans got what he wanted. His team has continued to fight hard. They continued to play hard. They've worn this team down a little bit. You can see, I don't think I've seen a single cramp tonight for this Vestavia team. I'm sure there's been a couple, but we haven't seen one where it happened on the field. We've seen 5 or 6 for Carver. Vestavia clearly in outstanding shape. That's something you couldn't have said several years back, but it's something they've committed to, they've made important, and you've seen that here tonight on what's a really hot night.
Zay Maddox, a backup lineman. He's about the second backup lineman, third maybe, who has coming out of the game. And we obviously, we're watching this one here. We don't have the video tonight. We will moving forward. But this is a huge guy. And if you're not hydrating 3 or 4 days before a game like this, you will feel it. Well, Maddox limping off the field. Handoff, Berry, and ridden out of bounds. By the way, TK Russell's still in there with less than 6 minutes remaining. Carver in front, 41-19.
That's a really nice tackle that time by William Bachnick for the Rebels.
All the defensive guys did get healthy. There were about 3 or 4 missing at the Jamboree against Pell City, but they're healthy. Incomplete. You still see how the Rebels are still hitting.
And Coach Bobby Carr now out on the numbers. He wanted a targeting call on that one, and he's pretty fired up. They're having to rip him off the field. I actually thought it was close. That ball was thrown over the middle. Receiver goes up. It tips off of his hands. And I didn't see the number, but the Vestavia defender came in with a big shot, not like the prior one where we had the injury delay, but a big shot. But it looked to me like it stayed in the chest area.
Ben Ponder, one of the safeties.
And that's one of those that looks bad because he reached up to go catch the football, and as he's coming down, that's when you had contact.
4th and 7. And the Carver will take a timeout, as will we. Kurt Bloom along with Chad Pilcher and our outstanding crew here at the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery. The Carver Wolverines 41, the Vestavia Hills Rebels 19.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
Under 6 minutes remaining from the Crampton Bowl. You got to get the cobwebs out somewhere. You've been used to hitting your own guys in practice, which started in late June, early July, I think. So, I mean, a couple of months, you finally get a chance. Unfortunately, when this game started, about a couple of minutes in, there was a fumble and a scoop and score for Carver, and they have not looked back. Vestavia Hills will get good field position here. But that being said, it's a mental game. The sports is always mental, Chad. And mentally, you prepare, you work, you lift those weights, you run. You get 2-a-days. It's very, very hot. And the first thing within 2 minutes, a turnover and a scoop and score for Carver. It's tough to come back from that. Open field tackle down goes Boylan.
It's a good tackle in the backfield. Vestavia going to go fast. You're right. And the Rebels fought back in the second half, but the reality is they went from 4 minutes left in the second quarter and didn't score again until about 7 or 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So they went a whole almost 2 full quarters without putting any points on the board while also throwing 3 interceptions.
Bryce Lemaster getting some valuable playing time. Led the team to a score. Play fake. Lemaster escapes and then starts to run successfully to the 41-yard line. Nice.
That's a great play by Lemaster that time. Good pressure in the backfield by Carver. Lemaster senses it and was able to get free. Had a defender right around his legs. He fought through it and picked up a first down for the Rebels.
See if Lemaster could lead the Rebs to another touchdown, but that's a fumble instead.
So Vestavia's going to retain possession. They went speed
Barely.
option to the left side. That ball was pitched behind Boylan. He came back and was able to get on the football. Rebels fortunate there. And you look at the night from the offensive production. Vestavia just over 200 yards of total offense, but only 10 of 23 through the air for 124 yards, and again, those 3 interceptions.
Screen caught Boylan, who scored the touchdown. Getting involved in the offense is Noah Boylan, and again, he might be knocking on the door. I once made the mistake of saying getting playing time to a coach, and he said, no, they earn playing time, and Boylan earning some more minutes moving forward. As we talked about for most of this night, Chad, this schedule does not have a soft landing. Lemaster's pass is incomplete. I mean, you take on an Auburn team that was in the state finals a couple of years ago. And that's just this gauntlet that Robert Evans talked about, the first 5 games. It's a murderer's row if you are the Rebels. And as we mentioned, if you can survive, you got a chance to thrive. Intercepted by Carver. Lemaster's pass is picked off and a long run back. And so Carver with yet another turnover, another interception. Their 4th interception of the game.
Great effort there by Jackson Deal, the offensive lineman, to make that stop and prevent the touchdown, but just too many turnovers for the Rebels here tonight. 4 interceptions, another fumble. This was going to be a tall task if you played a good game.
Spotless game, yeah.
Impossible when you have 5 turnovers.
Well, and unfortunately, there was an indication during the Jamboree against Pell City, a lot of turnovers there.
You know, the interesting part of that is that in the Jamboree, it was fumbles. And obviously there was the one fumble to start the game, but tonight here it's been the interceptions. And so it's game 1. And you have sophomore quarterbacks playing, and it's a learning curve. And these are very talented individuals, very talented quarterbacks. It's just going to take a little bit to get into rhythm, to understand the defense, to see how fast the tempo of the football game is, to know where your teammates are going to be. I think for Vestavia here, you finish out these next 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and you flush it, and you get ready for the next ball game because you don't have time to sulk or to feel sorry for yourself. You got to get ready for what's another very talented football team next week.
And on the road as well. So you don't even get the friendly confines of Thompson-Reynolds Stadium. You got to go to Auburn, a 2.5-hour drive.
And do want to give a tip of the hat to the AHSAA, to the city of Montgomery, to the Crampton Bowl for this event. Again, we mentioned it. This is a facility that used to host the blue-gray game back in the day. And they've done a good job of renovating this. They've got brand new turf. They've got a updated technology here in this stadium. Down at the end, they have a sports facility and kind of a banquet area in one end zone. Just a really nice stadium, great hospitality, great atmosphere here for this ball game.
High school football today. You mentioned college tomorrow on this field. Flag on the play.
That's going to be penalty number 14 against Carver.
Kadarius Hopkins, a backup running back, a senior, on the carry. Bobby Carr looking for his first win at Carver, but you mentioned earlier again all the state championships that he won. You know, the last time, Chad, I should have mentioned this earlier, the last time that these two teams met, 1981, and Carver Montgomery won 22-21. 41-19. The Wolverines out in front of the Rebels. Under 2 minutes remaining in the opening game or the 2024 Kickoff Classic. Another carry for Kadarius Hopkins. The Wolverines just content to run out the clock. Chad, a big thank you to our entire crew here, by the way. Cameras and stats, audio, John Versiglio and Myra, and your halftime guests and all that. It's great to get started, get our feet wet as well.
And remind everyone, this was audio only due to AHSAA rules. We will be back. We'll have the live broadcast for you next weekend. Full video, full graphics, full everything. And that's how we'll be for the rest of this season. And we're looking forward to an outstanding season here on the One Rebel Athletics Network.
The speed for Hopkins. So does that mean, Chad, next week we've got to shave? I got to tuck my shirt in. I got to get my hair all done. I have to call in makeup and all that.
Got to mix it up. And again, I think if you're out there listening, you're wondering what does the season hold. This is a tough start. Arguably your most prolific offensive player is out. Your defense battled after being on the field for 25 minutes back-to-back. Started out a little slow, but really bowed your neck when you had to. And this is a Vestavia team that has a lot of promise, a lot of opportunity going forward in this season. Going to take a little time, but the reality is you schedule tough games like this because you're trying to get ready for what is a incredibly tough region, arguably the best region in all of high school football in the state of Alabama. So you schedule these first two games, and what your goal is to try to get ready for that that week 3 matchup when region play starts. Do you want to win the first two? Absolutely. Are you pleased with the score? Absolutely not. But it's part of a process where you're learning with a young quarterback, with a number of young guys in several positions who are learning. You don't have a ton of depth. You're trying to find out who your guys are, and that's what these first 2 weeks are about. You didn't get the win that you were looking for, but it's a good, strong start against a high-quality opponent that you're going to hear a lot from this season. So tip of the hat to the Carver Wolverines. They played really, really well tonight. Vestavia didn't make enough plays and made too many mistakes, but this was a game that Carver won. They're going to be formidable going forward, and for Vestavia, it's step one of a learning process where you try to get better and come back next week.
Well, clock has hit zeros, obviously, and the teams exchanging handshakes and high fives near midfield. In our first broadcast of the season, the 2024 Kickoff Classic has come to an end from the Crampton Bowl. From our broadcast partner, Chad Pilcher, John Versiglio behind us, Myra Miles, all of our stat crew, our camera people, and everybody who tuned in our YouTube network tonight. This is Kurt Bloom, CB, saying, may today be the best day of your life, but tomorrow be even better right here on the One Rebel Athletics YouTube app.
This is Coach Robert Evans at Vestavia High School. I want to personally thank you for tuning in to tonight's game. We appreciate your support, and go Rebels.